All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Beyond the Physics podcast. This is your host, Joseph Guzman. On this episode of the podcast, Irene and I are joined by our friend, Juan Mejia. Not to be confused with our previous guest, who just so happens to also be named Juan. But this Juan and I have known each other for a rather long time, having met in our undergrad program at Cal State Long Beach. We both graduated around the same time, and as luck would have it, we both happened to accept an offer to the same physics grad school program. To know Juan is certainly a joy in the unapologetic fervor with which he lives his life. He is beholden to no one, makes no apologies, and in the face of adversity often seems to just shrug it off as if it's no big deal. So I was very tempted to dub today's episode the Beyond the Physics After Hours edition, because Juan asked that we have a glass of wine before and during the podcast. So you might notice that the mic is a little warmer than usual. But by all means, if you can, I would love it if you could share that glass of wine with us. Otherwise, you can simply enjoy the conversation that unfolds. Anyways, much of tonight's conversation revolves around Juan's motivations and how he pushes forward in the face of adversity. So perhaps you'll find a gem or two in there for yourself. We also spent considerable time talking about the education system and some of our perceived issues with it. Then, at some point, we have a discussion on parenting strategies, specifically on the appropriateness of, quote, whooping your kids, unquote. So if you find yourself on one side of the fence for that issue, please stick around. And it will probably become apparent that Juan has a passion for working out, and so throughout he was an advocate for living an active lifestyle and reflects on how it is necessary for him to push his body for his own well-being. Also, we talk about Juan's general perspective on the world and how it can be useful for him to, quote, shut off his brain, unquote. Anyways, there are many other topics that we discuss, but hopefully that summarizes the most relevant moments in tonight's conversation. And with that, I bring to you our conversation with our good friend, Juan Mejia. This is Beyond the Physics. All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Beyond the Physics podcast. This is Joseph Guzman, and I'm joined with my co-host, as usual, Irene Roman.
Hi, everyone. I'm Irene.
And today, our special guest is our good friend, Juan Mejia.
Hello, people.
Right. So...
Hello,
Got you off guard right there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean... Okay, so where to start? I guess what I wanted to start with today is hustle culture, right? So I don't know do you have any idea what I mean by that?
No, I don't.
Right, so what I mean by hustle culture, right, is there's some like influencers and like social media and stuff who really promote like work ethic and working hard and stuff like that, and there are people that say you should kind of keep your head down and like really like if you want to succeed, you really gotta like just keep at it, like work.
That's fucking stupid.
Okay, right. So let's talk about that. So why do you think that's stupid?
Because you need help. Everyone needs help.
So what do you mean by that? What do you mean people need help? Help with what specifically?
With anything, with everything. If you're always working hard, you're never gonna see anything else other than work.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta see above where you want to be, and then work hard towards it.
Right.
If you're just working hard, you're just working hard endlessly, and you're not getting anywhere fast. That's why I think it's stupid if you just work hard without a goal.
Right. Well, say you have a goal in mind, like say you want to become the best at something, Like, I guess previously, like we've probably talked about, motivations for going into physics and stuff like that. I don't know. From what I recall, I remember you saying like you want to be the best, one of the best, if not the best in your field.
Yeah.
Right? Do you still feel that way?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So say,
I want to be great.
okay.
I don't want to be the best. I want to be great.
So what's the distinction there? Can you clarify that for
The
me?
best just means it doesn't, I don't know. It just sounds better when it sounds great. Sounds way better.
So is the great above the best in your mind, or?
Yeah. The best just means you're probably good at what you're doing. The greatest means you're not going to be forgotten. Like, you're going to be remembered for whatever you did. You did something unique that probably no one would have done. That's what I think greatness is. It's like legendary. Like, people are going to talk about you. They're not just a few people are going to know that you're the best in locally, but when you're great, it's beyond. It doesn't just stay locally, it's global. That's what I think. I don't know. But these are just my definitions, so I could be definitely wrong.
Well, no. I mean, however you define it is fine. But
But I mean, I feel like I use a lot of words incorrectly just because I feel like, oh, this is what it means, so this is what it is.
Okay, right.
That's what I'm saying.
It's good to know. But so then would you say, okay, so that's one of the primary motivations for you being in physics is that you want some type of legacy kind of deal? Like you want, if, you can work to this goal, ideally you would want to have something to be remembered for.
Yeah, there's no ifs though.
So what does that mean?
There's no ifs. You said if you make it. No, you gotta make it.
Okay, so it's like
I'm gonna make it. There's no ifs. There's just I'm gonna get it, and that's it. I don't know how, and I wouldn't even tell you when. But I believe it's gonna happen, and it will happen. That's just me though.
right.
I don't think putting an if is like, okay, you don't see it, but it doesn't really matter if you don't see it. And not in a disrespectful way, but it doesn't matter, because a lot of people say you're never gonna do this. Well, if I was asking for your opinion, maybe I would have asked you, kind of thing. You gotta be kind of stupidly arrogant, but also know when to listen, I guess. And it's very, people think you're full of shit, and it's better that they think you're full of shit than not speak up and then people get in your head.
Okay, you lost me with the last bit there.
So I guess I have a question too about that. Do you think that, so you're saying that you don't doubt at all that you're gonna make it to be the greatest?
Correct.
Okay. Do you think that everyone should believe that?
Yeah.
So then why, I guess, why?
Why not?
Like, do you think that it's possible that everyone can be the greatest? Because, I mean, in definition, to be the greatest, how could everyone be the greatest, I guess is the question.
You just keep going. That's really what it is. I think everyone can do it. It just, some people are not going to do it because they'll find an excuse. Because it's not easy.
Right.
It's not. There's going to be more roadblocks than there's going to be more slides, I guess.
Yeah. But I think Irene's point is that, like, even if everyone were to suddenly agree with you and be on board with, like, okay, this is what we all want, like, we want to become the greatest, it's impossible for everyone to succeed at that, right? Because by definition, for you to become one of the greats, if everyone else was great, then it kind of loses its meaning, right?
No, I'm saying everyone has the potential to be great, but not everyone's going to do it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So I guess,
Okay.
Irene asked, or the way I interpret it is, can everyone do it? And I'm saying, yeah, everyone can do it. Will everyone do it? No.
Well, I think what she asked is, should everyone do it? And I think that's an important distinction.
Should?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. But should, it doesn't, not everyone's greatness is going to be all this mighty things.
Right.
Like everyone has their one thing that they're really good at, or and they can contribute to the world. That's what's going to get you remembered.
Mm.
It might not be, you on a personal level, you might not want everyone to know who you are, but you'll want to take care of your family and you want them to know. So that's great.
Okay. So I see what you mean by greatness is a very individual thing, right? So everyone has their own sense of what will make them great. And you just,
I'm just ambitious.
You're just advocating for everyone to pursue like their highest ambition, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that was a source of confusion. I guess that came to like our conversation just before this about using words in a specific way, right? So that was like a source of me misunderstanding you, but okay, that makes much more sense. Okay. So when you say that you want to become great and have some sort of legacy in physics, presumably, right?
Is it physics or is it?
I guess
or
that's
is it, what do you define as your?
important to clarify, right?
I don't think I really know. I want to say physics, but at the same time, it's not. I think it's more for my community, whatever that means. And I think my community is more underprivileged minority people. So I don't care to be known by every physics person.
Okay.
But if everyone acknowledges, or from my community can see, or I can be great in their eyes, then maybe that's what I'm looking for.
Mm.
So are you saying that you want to be great because you want to inspire your community to also strive to be great, or is it a personal reason why you want to be great, or would you say it's more because you want to inspire others?
It's a little bit of both, or all three. I think my personality is just ambitious overall. I think I'm overly competitive in everything, and I try to bring it down when it's not really useful, but I've always wanted to be better than everyone. I don't know why. I don't know. I think there's just some recognition in being better than everyone, and it's good. I don't know why it's good. I just feel it's good, and I think that's the only thing that matters for me. And I know a lot of people don't care about that, and it's completely fine, but I think I personally like being better than anyone. I like more the competition of trying to be, like, if you're just good at something, like people say I'm a good runner, you can be better. But it's like, why are you going to do something so natural? Why am I going to run all day? It just doesn't seem like it's something I like, if it's something that just came naturally. I guess, I don't know if that makes...
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it makes some sort of sense, because, I mean, that's kind of my primary motivation for going into physics, is like a growth mindset kind of thing. And what that means is, like, I went into physics not because it was easy, but because it was hard, right? It was the exact opposite of easy, right? Yeah. I wasn't necessarily good at physics, but I saw that there was some inherent worth in that challenge, right? I wanted to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the best opportunity for me to grow as a person, right, from that difficulty. But I guess at the same time, like, there's people who are naturally gifted at things, and they try to push those natural talents and still come up against a lot of adversity, right? So, like, a person who's naturally great at running, like if you try to go to say like the Olympics or something, you're going to come up against a lot of people that are better than you, and you're going to find that competition and ways to try to improve yourself too. So
True.
So why is it that it feels necessary, I guess in your personal case, to go for something that seems inherently difficult?
Well, with running, I wasn't allowed to do what I wanted to do. So I thought if you suck at something, you can start somewhere and no one's going to say anything because they're not going to care. They're not going to care to see you because you're not a threat, you're not anything. You're just kind of there. So as long as they throw you on the side, it's kind of like you slowly creep up and then you take over. Versus when you're kind of good, they just kind of, in a sense, they drill you. They kind of tell you, oh, you should probably do this. You should probably do that. And you should probably then do something else to try and work on this. And it's kind of like that might be good, but and that's very helpful because they obviously probably know what they're doing. But there's also there's this instinct that you have, like, oh, I get what you're saying, but I think I should work on this little thing. And they won't let you work on something if they think, oh, what I'm telling you is better for you than what you're telling me that you think is good for you.
Okay.
And that's...
Do you think you could kind of like give me an example of what you're saying here? Because like in an abstract sense, I think I understand you, but like what is an example of something that you wanted to do in running that was kind of prohibited?
Even not in running, like in our masters, like I didn't want to do the homework. I knew I was gonna suck at the homework, and I knew it was gonna be a waste of time. And not because it's not important, but it's like I don't know the information yet. How am I gonna do something that I haven't even grasped my mind into it? So what people were telling me is, oh, you should go to class, do the homework, and everything's gonna work out. And what I was thinking is, okay, go to class, then read, and then reread, take notes, and then attempt the homework.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how I would carry it out. And once I started doing that, that's when everything started working out for me. But before that, it's like I was screwing up. And once I was very close to seeing, hey, if I don't change what I'm doing, and if I don't change what I'm listening to them tell me to do, I'm gonna screw up. But if I change and do what I feel is necessary, I might have more of a chance. And so I changed, and luckily I barely swooped by, and that made me mad, because then you really see, hey, if I would have just done what I wanted, everything would have worked out properly. And that's why you have to have this belief in yourself that if you're telling, like, this, your gut or whatever you want to call it is probably more right, because you lived your life and you've hopefully learned something and you paid attention. That's why it's important that you kind of fall 20 times and then pick up 21 times, because within those 20, I might have fell, but each part was like, oh, I learned something about myself. And if you don't fall enough times, then you don't really learn anything. And so I don't blame the professors for advising me to do things. I blame myself for not listening to myself earlier. And it's kind of like, okay, well, next time don't be stupid.
I wouldn't say it's stupid for listening to your professors, right? But
I mean, yeah. But to me, it seems stupid. It's like you should have just tried initially what you wanted to do and then see what happens. Because it was the same thing I was doing way before they were in my life. So why should I? I think I was more worried that, oh, well, it's grad school and it's supposed to be harder, so they probably know what they're telling me and they probably know better.
Mm.
And sometimes it's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. I fell into like a similar trap my first semester or whatever. Like, I was given advice that kind of contradicted what I expected, like, you know, in terms of, oh, you should take these classes. And I personally felt like I wasn't prepared. But they're like, no, you'll do fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, given your record or whatever, what the paper says, you should do good. And then I get totally smacked, right? I get totally destroyed my first semester. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's one instance where I had a very similar experience. And I feel like I should have just listened to myself, right? And trusted my instincts. Like, the information that they have with that piece of paper, my transcript, right, is much less than the information that I have of, like, I have this whole body of, you know, however many years of life that guide my decisions, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I think that's totally good advice. But, how do you feel about that, Irene? Like, from educational standpoint, like, it sounds like Juan's bringing up some frustrations as to, like, how classes are structured and taught and stuff like that. And I think that...
Yeah, I mean, I think the structure is really rigid in education right now. It's like there's usually like a one formula fits all type of situation where they obviously didn't have enough information about you, right? They don't get enough information about the students and like really see their history and what kind of methods work for them. So it's more like, I feel like it would have been better to, if we had better advising, let's say, in terms of getting to see like who you are and what works for you learning wise. And then from there giving you advice, or from there, like, you may be altering the way that you're allowed to do the class, basically, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, there's like a recent class that I took, I think the structure was more open. So it's, the deadlines are more flexible. There were less assignments. They were larger. Like, you had more of a choice of like what you wanted to explore and what you wanted to look at. And you had more time if you wanted to do your own independent study. You kind of go on tangents and learn the way that worked best for you, and then come back when you're ready with the material and giving it in, and it was flexible when you could turn it in. So I think that's like more of an optimal learning model, especially at the PhD level. Like, I don't really believe in this hardcore testing where it's like you're tested and it's like so performance based for that 1 hour or hour and a half that they give you, where it's like, what if you're having a bad day, or what if you're just not good under testing conditions because you get super nervous, and then just that one snapshot of that one day then is on your transcript, and people see that grade and they say, oh, they don't really understand the material, which may not be true, right? You just may need more time to process the questions or understand the questions, or maybe you think more deeply, so it takes you longer to complete the assignments or the questions. Like, I don't know, what do you think about the current education system? Like, what would you change to make it better?
I don't know. I really don't know. I would make them screw up a lot more. I think you definitely have to fuck up more. I mean, when I teach the labs, I tell them, you should probably screw up.
Yeah.
Because they ask me for, they ask me for question. They ask me questions and they want the answer. And I'm all like, what do you think the answer is? And I'm all, and then they respond. And then I tell them whether it's right or wrong. And if it's right, why do you, then what's the reason it's right? And if it's wrong, okay, it's wrong. There's nothing bad about that. It's okay to be wrong, but it's important to learn whatever thinking you were doing, you got to fix it. That's the more important part. And people are scared, like, oh fuck, if I fuck up, it's the end of the world. It's like, it's not. It's only the end of the world if you're gonna stop there and they're, oh well, let me just go back home, let me pack my things, the day's over. Okay, then you fucked up. Then that's stupid. That's wrong. That's bad. That's what I see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely about that. Like, I think that students should take more risks and shouldn't be afraid of failing, but then it's from there you learn a lot, right? Like you said before. But I think the way that the education system is right now and how rigid it is and how like performance is valued over everything else, it's like your grade matters so much. If you don't have all A's, you can't get into this school, or you can't, all of those logistics, it's like, that's why students are so nervous about failing, because they don't want to get a bad grade on the transcripts. They're worried more about their grade than they are about learning. So it's kind of like you have to create an environment where students don't have to worry about those grades, so that they can actually just like be comfortable failing. Because in my lab as well, I feel like I create an environment where they're okay, that they don't understand, just like how you said, how you create that environment. And I think that more classrooms should be like that. Yeah. And I think, our institution should also implement things like that as well.
I mean, with the whole testing thing, I think that's okay. That's like sports. That's really like sports. Or at least I think of it like that. Because test time, that's game day. That's when everyone's looking at you, or the teacher really actually cares about what you're doing, how you're doing. That's your performance. Yeah, it sucks. It might not be your day, but in sports, it might not be your best day that day either. So you gotta find a way. You gotta know yourself, and you gotta cope with whatever you have, whatever feelings you have. You gotta use them to your advantage. If you're anxious about, oh fuck, this shit is really stressing me out. Okay, use that stress to maybe study ahead of time. Or okay, you feel, what about if I fail? Okay, well, you're probably afraid. We'll use being afraid to, okay, let me study. Let me not play on my phone. Let me not watch TV. Let me not do anything that's wasting my time to, hey, let me be so afraid that I won't touch my phone, that I'm not worried about everyone else is going to the party, or everyone's doing this and doing that and having fun, to I'm going to go study because I don't want to fail. That's how afraid you have to be.
Right. So I just want to kind of jump in here for a second, because like in my personal experience, I agree with you. Like that's kind of how I motivate myself. But I think the issue I have with that perspective is that there's a lot of people who the first issue I have, I guess, is that like when it comes to the analogy for sports and game day, right, is that the game day itself is kind of like a performance, right? It's kind of just like you're performing for all these people, and then, that's what you're working up to. Whereas when it comes to classes and tests, right, what you're testing for is like the quality of your thinking, right? Like whether you know the material, whether you know what's going on, and the conditions may be totally different than how you actually operate. Like, whereas like for game day, like you can practice the game, you can like mimic the conditions so perfectly that, it's basically identical to practice if you wanted to. Whereas for like solving a problem in like physics or something, like it might be the case that like I can solve a problem in like 3-4 hours or whatever, and then you expect me to solve that same problem in like a much tighter constraint just because like I should know everything now or whatever, right? And so I guess I just have like a little bit of a problem with the analogy. But the other thing I worry about is just like people who may have like undue like disadvantages, like people who have like a lot of like, perhaps it would be better for you to speak about this, like who have issues with like being able to retain information, or like say you have ADD or ADHD or some type of disorder that makes it really difficult for you to operate under those conditions, right? That don't map on to like the sports analogy per se. Like you might have like a difficulty learning material, but you might have a system that works for you. Like say if you had some type of learning disorder, you might have a way to cope with that. But it's I don't see the same comparison being able to hold true in like sports. Like if you have like a practice and say you're like handicapped in some way, like expecting you to perform on game day might be a little unfair.
I mean, adrenaline, man. if you, so there was this one time, high school wrestling, and I was pretty weak. I was pretty weak. Significantly more weak than whoever I was going. I don't know his name. And he messed up my arm, but I didn't get pinned. I mean, it sucks that I lost. And even my coach is all like, "Are you okay?" And you feel that you're hurt, but when you see or when you think about what's on the line or what you value, it becomes more important not to give up. So that handicap doesn't mean it's the end. It just means, okay, you gotta figure a way. So instead of holding with my right arm, I held with my left hand, and that's just what I got. And you gotta find. You can't let anything or anyone stop you, whether you're handicapped or not. And it's kind of like even big sports individuals or athletes say, "Oh, well, I was hurt, but I found a way to go through it. I'm not gonna just, let me just throw in the towel." Like no one says, "Hey, just throw in the towel, let me lose. My knees hurt, my legs hurt." I've seen YouTube videos, and this is like super wonderful. I mean, I'm sorry for that lady, but she runs a marathon for the first time. I don't know how much she practiced with it. So she's running, and she's like, I want to say at least like 50 yards, and that might be a little bit too much. Maybe like 20 yards from the finish line. And she collapses. She collapses. And then you see her, and she's still going. She's still crawling on her knees. She's wearing shorts. That's the kind of dedication that's the kind of mentality that you're supposed to get, whether you have anything. And that's what I think. That's what I see. And I don't know. I'm not the best reader, so I have problems reading. I have problems understanding. I have problems just listening when people, like, I have to pay so much focus or attention, and it's like, okay, but it is what it is. And I can say, well, I have this. This is probably why I fucked up. Or I can say, well, let me figure a way to deal with this. And you try and do something about it, or you try and get some help and figure something that will help you. But I don't think that's why I think it's the same.
Right. Well, okay. So let me come at it this way. Like, so I think I understand better what you're saying, but think about it this way. Like, all I'm saying is, like how you're saying with issues with being told like how you're supposed to do it or how they want you to do some task, and you want to do it a different way, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what's best for you.
Yeah.
Right. So all I'm pointing out is the fact, like, this structure, or whatever you want to call it, this thing that is test taking, right, might be unnecessarily a handicap for other people. It's telling other people how you should perform, which might not necessarily map onto what we care about, right? So it's like, in the sports analogy, think about it this way. It's like that person who, like in your case, like where your arm got messed up, right? Like, say someone purposely like messed up your arm before that event, every time that you went to that event, right? Like just before the thing even started.
Okay.
You're handicapped from the start every time.
Okay.
Right? So of course you can persevere, and you can work past all these issues, and it would be a real testament to like how hard you worked. right? But that doesn't mean it's necessarily right for you to have your arm messed up every time before you go into the event. You should probably structure the event so that it's more inclusive to you, and like you don't have to get your arm messed up every time before you go in, right?
True.
Right. So that's all I'm saying. Is like maybe this test taking instrument is like ought to be a little broadened so that it could be inclusive to, you know, all types of people and all types of way of thinking and solving problems, and like perhaps you perform better under this certain way. Like we can include those people and test them in a way that's appropriate for them.
Probably. I think if I understand, yeah. I just don't. When there's I guess my problem with the situation is once there's a guideline, I don't change it. If that makes sense. It is what it is, and if I can't do anything about it, then I just don't worry about it. So, yeah, taking tests, yeah, it sucks. And I'm not going to be the one that's going to change it. And so my mentality is, well, if I'm not going to change it and I'm not going to do anything about it, why worry about it? And it seems like, why am I going to waste time or even energy thinking about, well, this sucks, this is it's not something I care to do. So I'm not saying it doesn't suck, and I'm not saying hopefully someone does change it. That would be nice, but towards that point I'm like, okay, it is what it is. And
right.
So if someone was going to break my arm every time before the match, that's not going to stop me from wanting to do it. It's just going to be like, okay, it is what it is.
Right. Exactly. I hold both mentalities at the same time, right? It's like, I'm going to go into the test, like maybe there's some disadvantage like I might have going in, and I got to deal with it, right? But me, it's like, I'm aware of that's going on. Like, okay, this is a problem. I see that now. And I feel like everyone has the power to change that if they want to. And I want to be the change in the community. I want to help bring about the change in the community to make it what I think is more inclusive and more fair. Because I guess what I care about is like people's quality of thinking, people's ideas, and like people just sharing what they think, how the universe could work, right? In terms of physics, right? Yeah. And it really doesn't matter to me like how you perform on a test. Like if you have a good idea but you perform bad on the test, like it's still a good idea. It has nothing to do with that, right? So so anyways, it's just like I think it's my responsibility to try and help change things. Like there's no reason why this structure has to keep going on forever and ever and ever. If
that's true.
If we see a better way to move forward, then I think we should pitch that and try and go with that better understanding.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I have no problem with that. I mean, I think there's a mathematician that didn't even have a PhD. I don't know if he ended up getting it, but he would always help like some physicists, and I think he's very well known. I don't know. I saw him on YouTube. So, I mean, that's saying something. I mean, he didn't really get a education, so I'm sure you'll be helping a lot of people if you take off exams or if you change something about it.
Right. Well, I'm not saying specifically exams. It's just like one of the broader goals is just examining the culture. Like why is this even a thing in the first place? Like
taking exams?
Well, yeah, it's like, is this
pressure, man?
Is this really testing like what you want to test? Like, I think we should question that and see if we can altogether come up with something better that's more inclusive.
The only reason why I think there's tests is probably, what's it called? They want you to practice. They want you to practice more than you can practice anything, because if you're worried about something, that puts it's like puts a fire in you that you're gonna say, well, I don't want to fuck up, and at least let me do this a few times and maybe I'll have a chance.
Yeah.
Whether they threw some crazy shit at me or not. But I think that's the reason why they do tests, because they have nothing else. Because homework is like, this is your chill time. This is where you go figure things and you figure out how you think. I don't don't agree with professors that say, "Oh, you got to do it this way, my way, and that's the only way." That's fucking stupid because no one thinks the same.
Yep.
That's the only thing I would disagree with their exams.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Did you have something to say? After that?
No, I mean, kind of like just what I said before. Like, I think what's really distracts from learning that I've seen, and I think it gets worse over the years. I think it's gotten worse. Is this kind of over preoccupation with grades? Okay, so I think like it's kind of an obsession on what grade you're gonna get, and then the test performance. You get 2 tests, let's say at most, in a semester. Then I mean, like, you have such a preoccupation of doing well on these exams so that your overall grade is going to do well, because those grades are what people see, and that's how you get ahead, and that's just what the structure is right now.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that actually detracts from learning. I think a lot of people even will just cram before the test and try to get all the material they can get done in their minds in the test, and will forget a lot of the material. They won't make the deep connections. They won't explore it and find interest in what they're trying to learn. So they don't retain it as well. Yeah. And I think that the tests are part of that culture. I don't think tests are bad. Like, I think they can have some utility, but the way that they're done right now, and the like overemphasis on the necessity to get a specific grade so that you can get ahead in your education, get into grad school or whatever, or get a specific job maybe, I think that detracts from learning. And I don't think students are meeting their potential because of that, in my opinion.
Well, the ones that I think, the way I see it is the ones that really get distracted by grades, like, oh, grades. Those are the ones that are just going to be followers. Those are the ones that are not thinking for themselves because they're too preoccupied with thinking about grades. The ones that are kind of like, okay, well, I need to do good enough that I'm passing and I'm standing well, but I have to really know my information, at least the way I can learn it, the way I can understand it. Those people are probably the ones that are actually thinking. Those are probably the ones that are not going to be a follower in, hey, let me go get a 9-to-5 job doing a office job at wherever this good company is. That's what I think about grades. That's why that's kind of like how I see it. The ones that really get distracted are the ones that are not really paying attention into what they want. They're just doing what other people want them to do. Those are the people that are, unfortunately, I don't think are good in their thinking.
Well, that's like good point that you're bringing up, and it's important, but I don't think it has to be that way. Like, I think that it all has to do with the structure of education. It's like, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people that aren't as, let's say, aren't maybe as self-aware, don't question as much. And I think maybe some people are more naturally question, the guidelines that they have, the structures around them, and see whether or not that's correct for them or not. And some people, like you said, just they learn something, they're taught by their environment to believe these things, and they believe them, right? But I think that is another downfall of education, is that they're not teaching people to think critically and to be self-aware. And I think that by changing the education system, you can make it so that you are teaching those skills to even the people who it doesn't come naturally to them. And then you wouldn't see that effect anymore, right? So then you see people like, really interested in what, really exploring themselves and finding out what they want to do instead of just following these guidelines. And I think that would be helpful for society tremendously. So I think so. Teaching kids critical thinking skills from being young, and so that they can do it themselves, not like, there's a teacher telling them how to do things and you have to follow this guideline, but telling them, okay, here are some tools, and then can you figure out the problem yourself and let them explore so they learn. I think that is much more helpful. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in changing the education system, like, for sure, 100%. That's one of my goals.
That's pretty good. Well, hopefully. I don't know what to say. I agree with that. I would want that.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's, for the most part, zombies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a zombie too. I'm not going to lie. I think I zone out a lot just to zone out for no reason. No reason other than just wanting to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also bad. So I'm not good either.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Like, critical thinking skills is kind of what matters. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased in that I'm a physicist, right? And that we think that solving things from first principles is pretty much always useful, right? You get to see whatever biases that you've cooked into the system, whatever things that you kind of just put in there for no good reason that are just cluttering up the system, and then you could streamline it so that everyone gets the most out of it. So yeah, I think it's totally great. But if we could take a step back, you mentioned something that I'm pretty curious to explore, which is your definition of greatness is to become well known and to perhaps become well known in the community that you want to look after, and that's underrepresented minorities, particularly, right? Yes. So could you give me more detail on that? Like, what exactly do you mean? Like, who do you want to represent? I guess maybe I could ask, like, where do you see yourself in 10 years or something? Like, maybe you have a vision of what you want to do for this community that could help them, or
I don't have a vision, man. I would like to say I have a vision, but I don't. It's complicated. I don't know everything. I don't know anything. I don't even know where I'm going right now, which is the shitty part. And I think that's what's really making me, it makes it difficult to look past. Like there's that general goal, and then there's usually been okay. I mean, not always, but so there's that general goal. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to do it. And that's all I know. As into how I want to, it's just, I want to show them that it's possible. It's like most of us, or at least I'm talking in my family, they tell us, well, you should just probably graduate high school, get a job, then get a girlfriend, marry a girlfriend, get some kids, and then live a good life. Then you figure out you could do that and probably live okay, or you can live better, whatever better means, but it's not that scary to do something that no one's ever done. It's probably the easiest thing, because then you don't know if you're doing things right or wrong. It's just happening. And there's an ease that, okay, well, you can say at any given time, well, if you did everything possible that you could do, and you screw up, and there's literally nothing you can do, then you just go back home, or metaphoric home as in back to the beginning, and then you carry out the life that everyone expected you to do, and no one's going to say anything. And if they do say something, the worst thing I can think of is that they'll laugh, or they'll say oh, you got all that education, you did this, you did that, but you ended up at the same place that we're all in. And all I think to those hypothetical thoughts that I've had, I would just say, well, at least I tried. And no one can take that, I think. And it's like I had the balls enough to say fuck everyone, fuck you, fuck unfortunately even your parents, because your parents are not going to understand. And I it's like a nice fuck you, in the sense is I mean no disrespect to my mom and dad, but it's fuck your ideas. I don't care for them, and they're wrong. And I'd rather not. I'd rather try something and screw it all up and say I screwed it up than to live a life that I have no say in. That's what I think is wrong with being religious, in the sense, because we think, at least in Catholic, is like what I understood, and I could be wrong, but it's like my mom says, oh, God already made your plan. You're already, whatever you're gonna have, and whatever you're not gonna have, you're not gonna have. And if he wants to give you something, he's gonna give it to you as easy as possible, with no hard work, no nothing. And I'm all like, yeah, that's probably true. And then the only response I have is always, he also says, you help yourself and I will help you. So that means if you're willing to do, well, the way I understand it is, if you're willing to do whatever no one has done, then maybe you do deserve it, and maybe you will get it. But I think it's just important that you have this faith that you're just gonna get what you want if you're willing to do everything. And I feel like, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I get what I want? It's just that easy, I guess. I even if it's not easy, you just say it's easy, and then it is what it is. Fuck. I don't know. It's just, I hate when people say it's difficult. Like, what's so fucking difficult? You just try. You just keep on trying. I don't understand. And when people, what I don't really understand, I guess, is when people are real surprised that they're saying that you're still going. That's like, oh, I'm not dead yet. How why would you stop if you can keep going? And they're actually surprised. To me, that's the it's like watching a little kid be surprised at magic. If I was gonna assimilate it, when you see an adult say like, you're still going, like you haven't stopped, you're not gonna stop, it's kind of like, what's wrong with you? Everyone even when we talk with our advisors, and they're all like, and I tell them things of how I think, and they're just, why would you do that? Why would you push yourself so hard that you're gonna probably collapse and not be able to do anything for an hour or maybe even a day? And it's just like, why wouldn't I? How am I guaranteed that I'm gonna have the next hour? How am I guaranteed I have the next day? So why not push myself and figure out what I have today, and then we'll see about tomorrow. That's how I see it. And I personally don't see anything wrong with it. And I don't see why people, especially now, people fucking, all these fucking apps, all these fucking technologies. Hey, let me fucking buy a fucking watch. Let me see what my heartbeat is. Oh, you know what? I think I'm pushing myself too hard. My age is 50 or 20, and my heartbeat shouldn't pass past 180. I'm like, who the fuck cares? If you're gonna have a heart attack, it doesn't matter what age or what you're doing. You're gonna just, boom, you got a heart attack. So when people tell me like, oh yeah, I walked these amount of calories, why does it matter how many fucking steps you took? Why does it matter how much you do? I mean, if you just do it, you don't even recognize, hey, you can probably walk all, and there's people that fucking run all of the United States in like, I don't know how many days, and they're doing like 100 fucking miles running each day. And I'm thinking like, now that's fucking gutsy. That's having some balls. That's how you're supposed to treat your body. That's how you're supposed to treat your mind. That's what I think, in a sense. And that's why. So when people when you're tired and you want to go to sleep and you don't go to sleep and you do what you have to do, then you realize, damn, I was just being a little bitch. That's if you're in that. And that's why I work out. That's why I don't sleep a lot. That's why I try and study as hard as possible. Just because what I'm actually thinking is, well, my parents are probably more fucked than I am. That's what I'm literally thinking when I'm tired. If I'm tired, I'm thinking, well, fuck, my mom probably woke up at the same time. She probably has to do the same thing. She's whatever age she is. I'm probably not going to say it because she'll probably whoop my ass. Even if she doesn't hear it. But then there's also my dad. He's also old. What am I going to say? Well, yeah, my dad doesn't wake up at... He also fucking wakes up early in the morning. All fucking Mexicans wake up early. That's why when people say, how can you do this? I'm all like, I'm Mexican. It's just, you don't know us. If you don't understand what that means, then that's kind of sad. I feel. And that's why I like getting tired. That's an enjoyment, because I know whatever I'm feeling, whatever pain you can call it, if you really want to call it that, I'm thinking, hey, this is probably what my mom and dad are feeling. And guess what? This is probably nothing, because they lived longer, they've done it longer. So I'm only whatever. I'm only a certain age, and I'm complaining now. They're 50 and they can complain, but they're not allowed to, because they got responsibilities. So I was like, why am I gonna be a little bitch?
Right. Well, so there's a lot to unpack there.
I don't know. It's all in my head. It just came out.
No, that's okay. I mean, it was motivational in a lot of aspects. But we'll see what I can... There's so many different ways I could go about responding to that. So I'll just see where I recall or what seems relevant. I guess that's kind of what I meant by asking you about hustle culture and stuff like that, is like this aspect of just grind, right? Of you just got to do it. Work, as much as you physically can, right? And,
I think you should do more than what you physically can.
Well, how is that possible?
Well, how do you know it's your cap?
Well, I'm just speaking in like a theoretical aspect. Like, say you physically can, like you just break or something. I don't know.
Okay, then you break and that's it. Then you know that, okay, maybe that was a little bit too much.
Right. So
that's when you say, okay, maybe I pushed a little bit too much. But then next time, once it heals, then you say, okay, let's do more. Because once it heals, it must have gotten better, because now it knows, well, if you didn't get stronger, you're getting fucked again. So there's no limit.
You're getting fucked again. Why?
Huh?
Because you said if you don't get stronger, you're getting fucked again.
Yeah. Because that means you didn't learn, you didn't get better. So that means you're putting yourself in the same position on purpose, and you're not getting anything out of it. That's bad. Well, that's not learning.
I I guess maybe it's just like the fault of like us talking in this abstract way. It's like you push yourself to the point, like, say, I guess in the analogy that would make sense is like you're working out, right? You push yourself to the point where you break, and then you're saying you should come back and, get stronger so that you could do more next time.
No, like once you break, that time between you broken and you coming in again, mm-hmm. That's you growing. Mm-hmm. That's when everything gets fixed. So the next workout, you should be better.
Better as in you work yourself up to just hair before you break.
No, more than where you broke.
Okay.
So say today you did 5 push-ups, and you couldn't do the 6th push-up. Like, you couldn't even lift your body up from the floor any amount whatsoever. I'm saying between that set and the next set, on the next set, you should be at least be able to lift yourself an inch.
Right.
An inch. And it sounds like nothing, but okay, that inch is something.
Yeah, I forget who said this. Someone famous in the fitness world, like he didn't start counting push-ups until he was tired.
Oh, that's Muhammad Ali, man.
Muhammad Ali, right? Right. So are you saying something along those lines of like,
yeah,
all that really matters is when you get to the point where you feel like you can't go anymore.
yeah. I mean, I don't even like counting at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just like feeling when it starts burning, and once it starts burning, then I'm all like, okay, now it's good. Now we're working out. It doesn't even matter if you're sweating. It doesn't matter if you're drenched in sweat. It doesn't. All those reps, it's just your body trying to make you think you're tired, and then those are worthless. So when people are confused, like, oh, why are you so much in the gym? It's like, oh, why not? You're not tired until you're really tired, and even then, after an hour, you feel good and you feel ready to go back in there. So it's like, I don't know. There's just air. There's just really good. Mm-hmm. It feels real good, and it's harder to get there the more you do it, and it's not harder, but it's just kind of, I think it's more frustrating in this fucking gym because there's so many fucking bitches. And like guy bitches, like they're just sitting around, and it sucks, and there's too many people in that gym.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you kind of opened up this whole other can of worms that I guess I was kind of interested in talking about, right? So your current workout schedule is that you go twice a day now, right? Most days.
Yeah, twice a day each day.
For 2 hours each time.
I don't really care about the time. The time doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just doing this to frame it for the audience or whatever. Like, just your typical day is maybe about 4 hours at the gym.
I would just go minimum at least 2 hours, 1 and 1,
right?
Just to be on the safe side.
So that's the minimum.
That way, 4 seems like it's a lot. 2 seems like I'm not doing enough.
Well, this is not what it seems to be. It's what it is that I'm.
Yeah, but I like 2. It sounds better, because then that means I need more. So that's what I think.
What would you say would be the max? If that's the minimum, what's the maximum that you would say would happen in a day?
A maximum? I don't think there's a maximum. I want to be able to go all day one day.
Well, there clearly is one maximum.
No, I mean, like, from your experience, what has been the maximum? Like, on
the
like
maximum times I've gone to work out?
The maximum hours that you would say that you would work out, like?
I don't know. I've worked out when I didn't have grad school. I would work out 5 times a day during the summer. And if I got lucky, I would get to do that for a month, just because I didn't have to work, just because I didn't find job yet. But once that month happened, like, there's usually a job. So I guess 5 times a day for like an hour each session.
So would you leave the gym and then come back?
Huh?
You would leave the gym and then come back?
I think it's a home gym, right?
Yeah, it's just a home
gym. Okay.
Right. Okay, right. So this begs the natural question: why do you feel compelled to go to the gym?
Why not? I don't know. Why not? Why not go to the gym?
Well, just I guess because there's a lot of other responsibilities in the day. Like, right? Say you work 8 hours a day.
Okay.
Right, and then say you even go to the gym like 5 times a week.
Okay.
And you work out an hour. You double that, right? You go to the gym 2 hours.
I thought you meant I worked 16 hours.
No,
I was like, that's a lot.
No,
it's a lot of work.
Well, I think it's probably true that you work more than 8 hours a day, but I can't say to. I can't say for sure, but I'm saying you double the amount of time that say a person who worked 5 hours a week at the gym, you at least double that minimum now, right?
What?
Because you say you work 2 hours a day at the gym.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's this hypothetical person that spends 1 hour a day at the gym, there's a whole lot, like me in my personal day-to-day life, I guess let's just ignore the abstract analogy, right? So like say I work out, say I
An
work
hour a day.
Yeah, well, I guess that's not really the case, but I mean, just say I spend an hour in the morning working out, and then I have like a grueling day of research, and I'm working till like 9, 10 p.m. or whatever. Gym's closed, right? Why should I go to work out more?
Why not? It
Well,
feels good.
I'm asking you for a reason, right? So like, say I like.
Oh,
I,
my reason for going again?
right, exactly.
Feels good.
Okay.
Just feels good.
Mhm.
Just it feels good. I really don't know. It just feels good to go again.
Okay.
It's the way I see it is yeah, your head might be tired. Your brain is tired because you've probably been thinking, you've been doing whatever math or whatever complicated head stuff. Okay, sounds good. Your body's not tired. It's been sitting around all day. It's tired of sitting, and your brain is confused and makes you think your body is tired because you haven't been moving. So it's been stationary. So it's like an old car. Say you left your car, you haven't moved the car for, this is probably a shitty analogy, but my cousin told me this once. Say you didn't move a car for 5 years and fucking say the oil was pretty shitty. The fucking gears are going to be messed up. That's what you just did to your body working all day. Yeah, you probably moved around a little bit, but not enough. So that's what you did to your body.
Right,
That's you making yourself think that you're tired. And if you actually, once you start moving that car and you start moving it for the next another few days, then you start realizing, oh, it still works. It's still good. It's probably just a little bit worn down, but it's still good. So once you start working out, yeah, maybe after your long day, the first workout just might not feel good. The second workout might not feel good. The third workout might not feel good. But at some point you're going to be like, holy shit, this shit feels good. Why wasn't I doing this? Your brain is, you're going to get used to it. Your body is going to make whatever you need happen to happen.
Right.
Don't it's going to adapt. And it's either going to adapt or it's you're going to die. And your body doesn't want to die. So it's going to grow. So it's going to be better. So it's kind of like, that's what I think. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree that is that's a nice ideal, right? But
it's a fact, I think. I don't think it's an ideal. I think
right.
it's
No, I mean in terms of like the ideal in terms of the amount of times that
you
go to work out at the gym and stuff like that, right? I guess the only issue is like, do you find that impacts your experience at graduate school at all? Do you find that like you're short on time because of the amount of time that you spend at the gym?
Arnold Schwarzenegger said, no one has the time. You make the time. You have the time. And
I understand his meaning, but in graduate school, I think it has a different meaning.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think for some people it kind of might be, but I don't think so. I mean, technically grad school, it's like you're given a project and you're given the freedom from at least the freedom for the most part. If you're not a experimentalist, if you're a computational theorist, like you should be fucking buff because you have all the time. You're flexible.
Well, you don't have all the time, but you're flexible. I agree
that's what I mean by all the time. You have flexibility. That's all the time to me.
But the flexibility is that like I don't know if there's as much wiggle room as
I believe.
Yeah,
that might be true. But I feel like, say you complete a code, it takes you, let's be generous, 2 hours, and that I don't know if that's a lot enough time or
to write or to run a code
to like make the code.
Okay, yeah, that's.
I think that's a very short time. I mean, I guess it depends on like what the code is for, but if it's for
that's like, say I want to see a histogram,
Okay.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, then what's the longest time you can go coding without stopping?
That I could go coding without stopping? Well, every Monday I work with the group and it's like 8 hours, right?
So you can go nonstop for 8 hours
not nonstop, but I'll spend most of that time. Like I think I'll
without no headaches, no nothing, no like 30. When's the point when you have like a 30-minute pause and you're like, oh fuck, I can't think of anything?
Well, I take a lunch break, and so that naturally puts a punctuation point like in the middle. But like if I really needed to, if I needed to get the work done, yeah, I could be focused most of that time.
Okay, we'll say it's an ideal day and you can't be focused. Okay, let's just say 2 hours. 2 hours, okay. you can
like
write
2 hours,
some good code in 2 hours.
Sure.
You're not done, okay, but you're good for 2 hours and you probably need a break.
Okay.
I would fucking go work out. I would go work out because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'm doing for that 1 hour if I'm working out. I did 2 solid good hours of good work. My brain needs a rest. My body is not tired. So let me go fuck that shit up. Come back. My brain is oxygenated. And this could be true or this cannot be true. But this is just how my mind thinks. This is how the body thinks. So if I believe it, then it must be true, is what I think. And so, okay, my brain has oxygen now. Okay, let me go start doing my code again. Mm-hmm. And then I'm good. That's the flexibility I see in writing code and being a computational, that, hey, I give honestly 2 solid hours. All right, I deserve to treat myself. I treat myself going working out. Okay, then.
Right.
If anyone says, oh, why'd you go work out? I'd be like, well, fuck off. and that's what I would be. That's fuck off in a good way. It's like, well, I did what I was supposed to do and I'm still going to do it again.
Right. So I mean, again, like I agree that that's an ideal that I would like. That's like it sounds like a nice system to me, but I guess just the real work, like the work expectations kind of creep in there and they say like, oh, you need to get this done. And then for me to get that done, that's like, 8, 10-hour days for quite an extended period of time of coding or whatever. Right. So the wiggle room is a little less there. Like, but so I get your meaning.
I think guess. If you have, expectations are good because it gives you the pressure of, hey, you got to get this thing. You got to start thinking. But I personally cannot think for more than 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And so I think if I go do something that's good for me and I think it's good for me, then I'll be good to come back and give 2 more hours.
Okay.
So I believe I optimize that way. And when I don't do that, like I fucking hate waiting 12 hours to fucking go work out. I don't feel productive in the halfway in the middle of my day. I don't want to eat. I haven't even been eating. I just wake up, go to the gym in the morning, then go do my lab work. And the halfway point, I should be eating. I don't eat and I don't work out. So I'm just very frustrated. I'm edgy. I don't like it. I feel like I'm trapped and I don't do the next 4 hours. I'm not really doing really good work. I'm not even thinking. I'm just, let me see what I can get. So I'm taking twice as long to do what it took me in the morning to do less. So that's why I think it's working out makes me good.
Okay.
So I need to start doing 3 a day, but
right.
I haven't figured out a way. But I'm trying.
Okay, so the way you explained it to me, then I guess it makes total sense in your case why it's useful for you to go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
Go to the gym that many times and spend that time. If that's the way your brain functions and it helps you to go to the gym, then I guess more
you don't have to go to the gym. I mean, recently also I started just if I have to stop anything, I just find a corner and do as many push-ups as I can on the ground wherever I'm at, as long as no one can see me, because I feel like motherfuckers are gonna probably be saying, "Why are you doing that?" Because it's like white people's job. And so I just kind of hide somewhere and I just do a few push-ups.
Secret push-ups in the closet.
Yeah. No, there's no fucking closet. If there would be, I would do them there. But I do some push-ups and I was like, okay, at least I feel a little bit better. Okay, let me go do some work. And I've been more productive that way. But that's about it. I mean, I bring a little grip thing too. So I mean, I'm trying. You gotta find a way. I mean, if you can't go to the gym, you can't go to the gym. But I would definitely love to go to the gym. It'll make me feel happy. I'm better. I'm honestly better. It helps me stay in place. I don't like staying in. I've never liked being indoors. I don't know why. I don't like sitting in chairs. I don't like being at any one place and paying attention for too long. It just makes me frustrated. It's like you let this time, and this time has just been you sitting here, and it's like you could have been exploring the world. There's so much world, and you're missing it out because you're doing something else. And now you're not moving. Now you're not. Now I'm dying. That's literally how I feel when I'm not working. When I notice I'm not working out, but I want to work out. That's when I start dying. That's when I start feeling like, fuck, this is my fucking life. This is not what it's supposed to be. People told me, oh, you get an education, you get to do whatever you want. And it seems like I'm not getting to do what I want.
Yeah, no, that's I wouldn't say that's true. I mean, it gives you the tools to pursue more opportunities than otherwise, but even then, like, some specific paths will be pretty restrictive in terms of what you can do. But anyways, with that said, I guess I'm becoming mindful of your feelings of being on the podcast right now. How are you feeling? You good to go for some more questions?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, great.
I mean, I'm still moving my hands and my feet, so I'm coping.
You have to do some push-ups in the corner. You can go ahead and
if you want to take a push-up.
No, I work.
We don't judge. We're fine.
No, I worked out before I came, so I'm not that bad.
Okay, great.
But it's
great. So just
it's like
let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess let's shift gears a bit. Maybe, how do you feel talking about like your experience growing up? Like so.
Okay.
Right. So, were you born in Riverside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where like you pretty much spend most of your life growing up.
I mean, when I was born, there wasn't. I lived in Corona, but there was no hospital in Corona, so they took me to Riverside to be born. They took my mom to be born, me.
I see.
And then we lived in Corona for like 10 years. And within those 10 years, I moved I don't know how many times. Luckily, when I started kindergarten, we didn't move for like 5 years. So once 5th grade started halfway, we had to move. But that's about it. Then we lived in Riverside. Then we lived for all my life, but we still moved a few times.
So like in Riverside, so you said you lived in Riverside all your life, but you moved. So like you moved in the city?
Yeah, in the city.
So why is it that you moved so much?
Circumstances, I guess. Money.
Okay.
Money being the circumstance. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Just situations with money, I guess. I mean, so when I first moved to Riverside, we lived in a trailer park. It was pretty good. I liked it. It was our house, and I didn't know we had to own a house when I was a kid. When we were in Corona, we just lived in a house, and I thought it was my house.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we had to move, my mom's all like, "Oh, this isn't our house. Like we rent." And she told me what life was. how it was. And I appreciate that. She told all me and my brothers. She just got us in a circle and she asked, hey, do you guys want to move? Or do you guys want to stay in this house? And me being the oldest, I just asked, well, what do we have to do? And she said, well, we got to move. All right, then let's move. And it is what it is. Then we went to, that's when I figured out, oh, there's something called rent. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of good. I mean, I knew about money. I just didn't know there was money for housing. So that was a surprise.
So how many brothers do you have? And you have some sisters, right?
2 brothers, 3 sisters.
Right.
Pretty nice, short family.
Short? That's in your experience, That's a small family?
No, but I think it could have been bigger. Could have been bigger, right? Yeah. And I think it's big, but I think it's not bad.
So,
I definitely.
So how big do you want your family? Do you want a family?
Yeah, I think I would want kids. It's kind of challenging, but yeah.
Given your perception of all your siblings and stuff and the size of that family, what size family do you want?
No less than 4.
No less than 4.
No less than 4, I think.
Why is that? Where did 4 come from?
It'll fit a SUV, man.
Technology requirements, right? You can only fit that many. Right.
At least 4, but I don't think I would like driving a van. Other than that, I don't see anything.
I think they'd all fit in the car you're driving now, right?
Yeah, the SUV. Yeah, I like it. I don't know. I like loud. So
loud as in having lots of chaos and like more kids.
I don't think they're chaos. I just think they're having fun. I mean, yeah, I'll probably get irritated if they do something stupid, but depending how stupid. I mean, if they're not paying it, I don't know. I like loud. I don't understand how people can stay quiet. I don't understand white people, man. I don't understand. For the most part, I don't understand white neighborhoods. Like, why do you want everything so quiet? You have quiet everywhere. It's so fucking irritating that it's quiet. I don't like The Office. It's so fucking quiet. It's like, I get there in the morning. I have a little radio thing, speaker. It's a small speaker, and I just I don't even listen to music. I just play music, and then or just play a video, and I just do my work. And I just need the noise. It's easier. Yeah. It's like I don't know. And when everything is quiet, it's like, how can you concentrate? That's hard. That to me is hard. Because I don't know. It just is what it is. But I think loud is good. And if kids are having fun, then that's good too. I don't see anything bad with it. Mm-hmm. Would I be a good parent? I don't fucking know. I hope so. But who knows? That's scary. That's the scary shit. That's some scary shit.
It's nothing scary about pursuing your dreams and working hard and stuff. That's easy.
Yeah, because if you're fucking someone else's life, I'm just fucking up mine. No one gets fucked if I fuck up my life.
Well, except yourself, like you said. But
yeah,
I get what you mean.
But if you're teaching kids, it's kind of like, well, what about if you don't raise them right? That's what I'm worried about. What about if I can't help them to help themselves? That's the shitty part. Mm-hmm. That's what's scary. But maybe that scary might help me be better. But I think about it. I think about what I'm gonna do. We'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah, how would you raise your kids? You had to say, what kind of philosophy would you?
I'd definitely whoop them. I'd definitely whoop them. At some point, they're getting whooped. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
What kind of whooping are you talking about? Like
whoopings.
Spanking or like bell or like
a bell?
What are you talking about whooping?
No, you definitely. I don't know because the cop might listen to this. Keep an eye, but I don't know. There's definitely gonna be some whoopings. I think if they misbehave, just because. first, I think you should definitely tell them, hey, with your words, explain what the situation is, and they should be able to understand, and they should be able to think. But if they're too crazy and they're just doing things to be stupid in a stupid way, in a retarded way, because retarded is just no, in a stupid way, because stupid is just like they're doing it on just to get attention kind of thing, then maybe you need a whooping. That's about it. But for the most part, if they're being loud and they're just annoying the mom, it's like, well, they're just fucking kids. Whatever. They don't need a whooping for that. That's what I think.
Okay, well, I wasn't planning on going into this can of worms, but let's try to unpack this, right? So, do you ever think there's a scenario that it's okay to whoop a fellow like adult for misbehaving or wanting attention or whatever?
It's called you start fighting.
Right, but okay, so what scenario, like, so yeah, you think that's okay to like go ahead and like strike someone for wanting attention and being stupid and stuff?
If they're not hurting anyone, they can be as stupid as they want. If they're in my way, I think, or I guess being disrespectful towards me or anyone just because they feel like they're allowed, that's a reason why they should get beat up. Being reckless towards someone else's towards someone else, that's worth beating up. That means you think you're all strong and you have no one to stop you, or maybe someone needs to stop you. That's a whooping. That means you need a whooping.
Right. So what is it that you think that you would accomplish by, say, hypothetically, someone was being disrespectful to you and you're like, this guy's just being a total dick. He deserves a whooping. What is it that you accomplish by whooping him?
It depends. What is he being disrespectful for? If it's something just stupid and he's just telling me words or something that I don't really care about, all right, I'll let it slide. I don't really care.
Everything in this scenario is just words, right? It's just whatever specific combination of words that upsets you the most, right? So say, like, I don't know, he's talking bad about your mom or something. I don't know.
I think no one. You can talk bad about me. You can't talk about anyone else. It's just, why would you talk about my mom? You don't know my mom.
Right, exactly. So say he's talking bad about your mom and you want to whoop this guy. Say you do. What do you think that's going to accomplish?
Maybe he shouldn't be talking about people's moms. That's about it. If you politely ask, hey, you should probably don't talk about my mom, talk about me, and he continues talking about your mother, it's kind of like, well, why didn't you listen? It's like, why are you being disrespectful? It's okay to be disrespectful. Like, you and me, if we were to get into an argument, if you're being disrespectful against me, completely fine. Completely understandable. Someone that I care about is kind of like, well, why are you talking about them?
Well, so why do you say it's completely fine, completely understandable?
Because it's an argument between you and I.
Right,
and
but
so
there's no reason
all
to be...
is fair.
Not necessarily. Why does anyone have to reach the point where they're being disrespectful in the first place?
It just happens, man. I don't know. I don't know why it happens. I just know that it happens. It's... Some people find it...
Right. But what I'm saying is it right that it happens?
Probably not.
Should it happen?
Most likely not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Right.
I don't know what you're getting at with that.
So my point is, okay.
A lot of things shouldn't happen, but they happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you saying, is it right? I don't know what you mean. Because just because it's right or wrong, it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. A lot of people die unnecessarily. Is that right? No, but it happens.
Mm-hmm. There's
nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. And that's just really how I think of it. It is what it is. And for anyone to say, is it right or is it wrong? Well, why does it matter? It happens.
Right. So I guess, again, this kind of comes back to like this perspective thing of like, you know, when it came to the test conversation, right? I think it's my responsibility to like acknowledge that this is a problem and try to change it. If I have the power and the capacity to do so, which I feel I do, then it's my responsibility to try to make things right if I can, right? At least in some capacity. That goes for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Right? So
I agree.
If someone's being disrespectful, like, of course, I can't stop it. I can't stop people from being disrespectful in general, right? This is
True.
This is going to happen.
Uh-huh.
But whatever I could do in my power to change that fact to make it so people are less disrespectful, I think it's my responsibility to try to do so, right? That's a much more difficult thing to fix because then you're saying fix everyone's brain or whatever. The best I could do is just like lead by example, say, okay, I don't want to disrespect I don't want anyone to be disrespectful to me if, you know, because I don't think that's right. So I should, you know, just the golden rule, right? Like, do unto others what you would want done to yourself.
I agree.
Right.
I completely obey that rule.
Right. So exactly. So that's why I find it interesting that you say like, you know, if you're disrespectful to me, you know, all is good, you know, whatever. I don't care.
Because I don't care. Like if you're disrespectful to me, it's like I am aware that's gonna happen in a conversation in an argument.
Right.
So that's why I'm okay with it. I don't agree with it, but I'm willing to tolerate it because I'm, I guess, level-headed in that situation. But if we're having an argument and you start talking about my family or anyone that I care about, and I say you don't do that, and you still do that, now that's a problem because that I don't agree. Because I'm not here saying, well, your sister or your brother, your uncle, your mom or your dad are this and that. It's only you and me. The whole world doesn't even matter. So why are you getting them involved? Mm-hmm. So if you're getting someone involved that's not here to defend themselves, okay, then maybe you do need a whooping. Because, okay, maybe they would have whooped you for disrespecting them. I don't know. So let me do something, I guess, more than what we're doing now because you didn't understand how I asked you politely the first time.
Right. I guess this comes to a situation where I don't know if the ends justify the means. Like,
it might not.
I think the better thing to do is to just either, if you can, walk away from the situation or just
That's also true.
just completely disengage.
That's also true. That's
right.
also true.
I think there's many ways about navigating these types of encounters that I think it's just kind of getting it's kind of getting like ego involved where it shouldn't. Like if you just completely disengage from the situation and just become like, okay, this guy's not listening to me. He's just being disrespectful to be disrespectful. Like, what's the point of even engaging with this? Like letting him get such a reaction out of you to even fight him in the first place.
No, that's true.
It's like not even worth it.
That's true. That's why if they're talking about me, it's fine, and I won't do that. I wouldn't. Usually, no one talks about no one ever starts an argument. Hey, your mom.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, in middle school, maybe. Yeah. But.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe I got into something. I almost got into that.
Yeah.
But that was in elementary school.
Right. So, I guess this kind of to loop it back to the whole whooping your kids thing is like. I think it's something that we need to outgrow as a people because
I don't know, man.
Like in the comparison with this guy example of who's being disrespectful, like I think the more adult thing, the more appropriate thing to do is to just walk away from the situation.
Oh, no, that's true.
Or find some other way of navigating the situation that's nonviolent.
Yeah, I agree.
So the same, I think, should be applied to whooping children in general. Like, because
I don't know, man.
Because in the end, I think all you're doing is really, I think you're just traumatizing a child in the end.
Yeah, that's only if they didn't learn.
Unnecessarily. Right. But so whooping them isn't going to help them learn, right? They're like fresh new eyes, fresh new perspectives on the world, right? You have to understand that they don't understand anything. Like children growing up
true.
are trying to understand everything that's going around them. Parents are the ones that are kind of trying to guide them with like, okay, this is, the way world works in like a rough sense. And if they disobey that or whatever, they're disregarding it, it's better to try to, I think, update their software, i.e. their brain.
Yeah.
Try and see if you can engage with them intellectually, because that's what's really going to change the behavior.
And if that doesn't work, then you whoop them. That's what I'm saying, man.
Right. Well,
if your words and their understanding does not work, that means it's a time for a new approach, time for a whooping.
I think there's like other non-violent ways of communicating. That
I'm not giving them toys, man. I'm not giving them toys. I'm not giving them like a game console or computer.
So are you saying like you can't take that away if that's what you're saying, or like?
Yeah, I'm not gonna give them a lot of shit. I'm literally not. I'm not gonna give them a lot of shit. Even if I have the money, I'm gonna tell them one day, hey, you know what? That expensive toy that all your friends have, we just don't have the money. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. So why not?
Cause then he'll find a way to get it.
Wait, what does that mean?
Well, if he really wants it, then he'll find a means to get what he wants.
Okay, so you're saying like
it'll teach him to be resourceful instead of just, hey, let me have this and here you go. I guess hunger. It gives them some hunger. I think that's important.
Right.
I just want to go back to the whooping for 1 second because I just want to make one comment.
God dang it, Irene! I thought we were over this.
We're not gonna get over it. I'm not done here yet, but
I think it's important. I'm sorry.
Well, the only issue that I'm seeing, well, there's multiple issues, but let's just say one thing that I really think it's that when you whoop a child, you're training. It's a training method. You're training them, right? So you're like,
let me see what this is.
You don't agree with a behavior that you see that they have.
Okay.
So you're saying that you tried, intellectualizing with them, and you say it didn't work, which I think that there are probably ways that you can probably do without whooping. But let's say you say that you have to, like physically, you're trying to train them by scaring them through fear, basically, to teach them that behavior is not a correct behavior. So whenever you do something like this, again, you're going to feel pain, right? So that, in my view, doesn't teach them why that's not a beneficial behavior for them. I mean, as a parent, I think your job is to teach your children what is beneficial for them so that they can grow up, maximize whatever traits they have, so that they can succeed. Like you said, be the greatest, right? But if you're just whooping them, they're not going to learn at all why that's a bad behavior. They're just going to feel fear about that behavior and not want to continue it. And sometimes it might go wrong because you grow up, you get away from the environment that, let's say you whooped them for that situation. You grow up and then maybe you start asking yourself, okay, what was wrong with that behavior? Maybe you then become rebellious and you actually engage more in that behavior, right? And then you ask you never got an answer. You never really learned why that was not a beneficial behavior for you. So you might end up going down a road that's actually making your life more difficult. So it's like, that's just one scenario, let's say, that could possibly happen. I think what's easier or more beneficial for the child is to actually like teach them, listen, show them why that's not going to be beneficial for them. And if they continue the behavior, maybe kind of allow them to see how let them suffer the consequences of the outside world that happened to them because of that. But I don't think that you should, I think they need to learn those without just being trained by you through fear that it's something they shouldn't do. Because they're not going to learn really what is not beneficial for their growth there.
Yeah, that might be true.
Do you see what I mean by
Yeah,
that?
no, I definitely see. I understand that. I always thought, I mean, they might engage or they might say, hey, maybe I did something wrong. I mean, the way I grew up, other than getting whooped, later I said, oh, you know what? My mom said, you take the good, leave the bad. And then one day I was like, you know what? My dad whooped me a lot. Wonder why that is. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I was like, but what did I do? I did nothing. When you're a kid, you say, oh, I didn't do anything. Why you whoop me? And then or you can grow up and just say, you know what? It was my fault he whooped me. There was probably some reason. I don't agree that he whooped me. I don't know if he told me once or twice, hey, you should probably stop that. I remember the whooping. And this is the scenario I say. Well, I got a whooping. And it is what it is. And I'm sure I did something stupid or bad that I wasn't supposed to do. So I take all the blame. And that's what life is. You take responsibility.
But I mean, I
That's
guess
what I
the thing
think.
is, wouldn't it have been helpful to really know and understand what was it that you did wrong? Or what was it the lesson they were trying to
when you're running from a whooping, you don't care what they're
but
saying.
that's why the whooping doesn't work, is what I'm saying. The whooping doesn't work because you're not really learning any lessons there. You're just becoming scared.
No, you don't become scared. You also grow up a little bit more.
Oh, then you ran away. You're not fearing the whooping.
That's in the beginning, and then at some point, once you grow up, like at some point, you know what? Why am I running? It doesn't even hurt that much. But then you get more longer beatings, so I don't know.
I just think that's a system that historically has been used, but I don't think, like we've talked about education, the system that's historically been used, I don't think it's that beneficial. Like I think there's other ways to go around it that people learn better lessons. And
I mean, yeah, the lessons, they might learn a lot.
Which is what you take on when you get older. If you understand this, it helps you like...
Yeah, the lessons are important, but I mean, it's like... At some point, it just doesn't hurt. It doesn't really matter.
It's not about that, though.
No, but that's an important lesson too. You know what? At some point, it's just you're gonna grow, and it's not gonna hurt as much, so it doesn't really matter. And then you start realizing, hey, maybe I'm fucking myself over. Yeah, it might not hurt, but maybe I'm really doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing. Now, maybe I'm thinking maybe that's why I started thinking like, well, is this going to be good? Is it really smart if I do this? Like you start becoming cautious, not because you're going to get a whooping, but because you might go to jail. Yeah, my dad might not whoop me, but I might go to jail. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. I think you could be worried about going to jail without getting the whooping, but that's a separate point.
Well, if you don't have any repercussions of anything, I mean...
There can be repercussions, right?
I mean, I don't think you learn by, hey, let me take this away from you, and
right, that's fine. But
the
claim is whether or not you learn anything by getting whooped, right? That's a separate point.
Okay, yeah,
right. But it's just to me, it seems like such a clear connection to exactly what you're talking about with education in grad school. Like you were expressing some frustrations with graduate school in terms of you need to do what these people think, there are advisors who are recommending you to do these certain things and you feel like it's not right for you. Like you don't really understand why they're saying that because for you, it makes much more sense to do this other path, this other way.
Okay. Yes.
The same thing could easily be true of your parents. They could think that this is what you should do. This is the way that you should operate as a child. But even like in reflection, like when you grow up years after that whooping and you think, why did I get whooped? Like you were expressing, it could be for like a totally stupid reason. Like it could be for something.
I'm sure one of them was.
Exactly. It could be for a reason that doesn't even make any logical sense. It could be for like, they think you should do this thing rather than this other way. When now as an adult, you know that that's just not how you work. You'd rather do it this other way.
Okay.
This beating was this whooping was totally was totally just a waste of time. You know, it made me feel fear or whatever. It just caused me to suffer physically and mentally, perhaps, for no reason. And so it's just, I would encourage you to question that thing, just as like we've been questioning the education system. This is like another way of educating children. We should question whether that system should be in place as it is. Is there a better way to do it?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a better way.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if it. I don't know why. I don't know how people would get scared from a whooping. I really don't understand that.
Say you're a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, whatever.
At
Your
3-year-olds, you don't remember shit at 3.
That's not true. I remember.
Well, you even said that at first you started running away. Then you like kind of became desensitized to the whoopings.
Yeah,
that's what happens. Yes,
yeah.
of course. You
at
like
6.
I mean,
At
but
6
we're
I
there
can
right
run.
there. You're running away. You had the fear of the
right.
whooping.
So at some point you
Yeah.
have fear built in, but like
Yeah, but
when
enough
you're
whoopings gets you stronger to be like, hey, you know what? It's
when you're a
not me.
child, your parents are literally giants. You realize this. Like
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're literally like 5 times taller than you. They can squish you if they wanted to. Like
Yeah, that's true.
I think
if I was
it's
saying-
appropriate to feel a sense of fear when you have these beings that are much taller than you that impose their physical will on you. Like they could easily kill you if they wanted.
I
to.
never saw it that way. I always saw the belt or whatever they had, and I was gonna say that shit's gonna hurt.
Maybe
Let me
reflecting,
fucking run away.
maybe reflecting on it, but try to have some empathy from like a children's.
Oh no, yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see how it's like looking at some big guy. I can see how they're
Like for the first time you're ever getting beaten, it's just like
you're unaware.
It's
It gets you
complete-
by surprise.
exactly. It's completely like you don't understand what's going on. Like why is this happening to me? Like what did I do? And then it's just like Irene was saying. It's just like it's not a way to teach a lesson, right? It's just
I mean, sometimes I was told before I even get a whooping. I was told,
Right.
"Hey, you do this again, you're getting a whooping." Sometimes I didn't believe them.
right. But
And-
even but again, the first time your parent might say this, you don't even know what a whooping is or whatever.
Oh no! Like after you know what a whooping is, then they tell you, "Hey, if you keep doing with something, you're gonna get a whooping." And then you do it, and guess what? You get a whooping. You get a fucking whooping, even though like, oh fuck, oh well.
Right. Anyways,
It's complicated.
I understand, but I feel like I've said my piece. Do you have anything?
sorry.
Any closing remarks
no,
on?
I mean, I don't know. It's
I don't know how much I'm gonna whoop them. I don't even know if I'm gonna whoop them at all. Maybe they'll behave. Who knows? Maybe I might be teaching them better than I got taught, and maybe they won't. Maybe they'll listen. Who knows?
I mean, my mom had an interesting method. Like if I ever got into like some crazy cat fight with my sister or something, I mean, she would lock us in the kind of lock. She would put.
Oh yeah, that's much better. Let me just
She put us
imprison
in the
you.
bathroom, and she said, "You guys have to work this out." So she's like, kind of trying to teach us. We need to learn how to have teach us some emotional
People
regulation,
skill.
and then teach us like some people skills,
Yeah.
like conflict resolution. She's like, you have to stay there. You have to talk this out, work it out with her. And then come back and we'll talk about it. And she would explain to us,
The
kind of
people's
help
court.
us understand what's going on, like kind of be the mediator between us. Why are we fighting? Like what upset each other? And then at the end, we'd realize that, okay, maybe we didn't have to like get that dramatic about, maybe she took a toy of mine or she took a piece of my candy or something like that. And then I think I learned a lot from that, much more than if she had just whipped both of us.
Yeah, that seems kind of nice.
And I feel like I'm more of an empathetic person now too, and I'm better at like connecting with people and like that kind of conflict resolution because she helped us learn those skills.
Yeah, I can see that. I think my mom tried to do that too, but I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
Anyways, so that was a complete tangent, right? It was a worthy tangent. It was interesting to talk about for sure, and I would encourage you to rethink this topic. But
Okay.
moving forward, I mean, so you talked about growing up in Corona and then moving to Riverside and stuff like that.
Well, Rubidoux.
More Rubidoux?
Yeah, Rubidoux the cheaper side of Riverside. I
Okay.
guess, or the
Okay.
ghetto side.
Right. So I guess since there's a long tangent, maybe we could jump ahead a little bit. You mentioned going to community college for some time. Maybe that was before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, how did you come into community college? Like, it sounds like that was the place where you discovered your passions for
Yeah.
physics
For a
or
lot
whatever.
of things.
How exactly did that come about? Like, what was your experience in community college? How did you come to learn about physics and stuff like that?
I learned about physics in high school. I learned there was a thing called physics.
Mm.
And people were saying it was hard. That's all I really remember about people saying about high school physics. I was like, oh, what's so hard about it? I don't really know. Didn't take it then. I didn't know. It was my senior year, so I didn't. That's how bad. I guess didn't know about it. And then I said, okay. Well, I didn't get to do it in high school, and then I got lucky going to community college, and then I said, okay, I'll go take physics. I don't know what I'm gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I like math and I like science, and I've never seen physics. Let me see what physics is, and that's it. That was the only goal. Let me see what it is. And that's about it.
Well, so then at what moment when you said, let's see what this is, did it click for you? Like, oh, this is pretty cool. I want to do this.
Oh, I thought everything was pretty cool every time I saw it. That's just
well, okay. So then how do you end up at physics grad school versus everything else is the question.
You talk to everyone. You literally talk to everyone. I didn't know anything. So the only thing I did know was how to talk. So I talked to everyone. I asked older people that already had kids, and I would ask them, well, what are you here for? And I guess in a nice way, why are you here? And what are you trying to do? And why you like it? Pretty much all the W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Those are the only questions I knew. And they would tell me, and I would get like, okay. And I guess after multiple times, I guess I kind of figured out what they all had in common, and they all needed money. So I said, okay, well, whatever I'm going to be, I need money, and I better get a lot. And another thing was fortunately, a lot of teachers in the science said, if you go for science, you get paid for science. No one cares about anything else. Even though I wanted to be in philosophy, they said, hey, if you do science, they told the whole class, if you do science, you get paid. You should really think about it. And so then I said, okay, so I need to get money and I need to be in science. Done. What is it? I don't know. And then I applied to transfer multiple times. I fucked up multiple times. And then I applied to Long Beach, Cal State San Bernardino, Cal State Poly, Cal Poly. No UCs because I didn't want to fucking write an essay. Thankfully, I didn't write as many. And so that was the only thing. And that's why I chose. And then I said, then my friend at the time said, hey, did you know about this college called Cal State Long Beach? I'm all like, no, man. And then so he told me to apply because he was going to go there. And I was like, all right, well, it's got the beach, so I like the beach. Let me go apply. Let me go apply. But it's like fucking far away. Real far away. Far away that I'm thinking like, fuck, I gotta drive. I gotta live there. I gotta find a way to do something, some way, somehow. But that was like, okay, that's questions for later. Let me just apply. And then I said, since I really love the beach, I said, well, if I deserve to go to the beach, then I must be having to work a lot for it. And then I said, okay, so you go big or you go home. So I applied for physics. And then all the other schools, I applied for chemical engineer, electrical engineer, math, and I think the only one I got was for math, but it was Cal State San Bernardino. So, and everyone else rejected me. But and then I was like, "Fuck!" I promised myself if I got into Long Beach, I would go no matter what, even if it was Cal Poly. So that's why I chose it. it was like a flip of a coin kind of thing. Before it even happened, I said, if it was fated, then I would be accepted. And I was accepted, so it must be fate.
Well, so then it's not necessarily a personal interest in physics that drew you to it then. It sounds just like you want to go big or you go home, right?
Yeah.
And you need to be in science, right? And you need to make money.
Yeah.
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, but so...
I mean, I love chemistry, and that was as close as it gets to chemistry. And chemistry at the time had a lot of fucking questions that my professor said, you should probably go in for chemistry. I was like, nah, ma'am. If I go to chemistry, I'm going to be making some like cocaine or something. I'm thinking real money here. I'm not thinking chump change. And she just started laughing. She's all like, all right, if you say so. Should consider it though.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, that's another point is that...
So my thoughts were also pretty bad.
Yeah, now that you're in physics, maybe you realize, like, I would say that physics probably makes the least amount of money of the sciences.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Right, so when did you learn that fact, I guess?
Just right now. Just right now. I thought they made a lot of money. It's the most difficult.
Just right now, as in me saying it right now?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I thought they all get the same money.
Right.
Except for engineers. I hear those motherfuckers get a lot of money.
You get a lot. You should have gotten into chemical engineering or something for like chemistry.
Yeah. My friend did chemical engineering. I thought I was actually going to apply for chemistry, but then I'm like, you know what? I fucking blow up a lot of shit, man. I did a lot of labs and I never got one right. So I was like, you know what? This might not be advantageous. So I was like, all right, I love you, chemistry. So I'll keep you on the side.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of like strictly the motivations that you've laid out, like it seems like chemistry or some...
Oh, I love
basically
chemistry.
Any other science would have been the way to go. So
chemistry is definitely the best.
With that knowledge in mind, like, are you tempted to switch?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually considering applying for chemistry, but I have the thoughts of go big or go home. And I'm thinking, like, I've gone physics all the way for so long. I don't know if I want to...
Yeah,
it seems kind of bitchy to, like, hey, let me go to chemistry.
I don't think it would be bitchy. I
think it is.
So why do you think it's bitchy?
I don't know.
Right. I mean, to me, I would think it's the opposite of bitchy. It just seems like, at what point, do you say enough is enough, right? Like, if you're going to go into chemistry, you're going to have to completely switch and learn everything again, right?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. It's pretty cool stuff.
And you should do it sooner than later.
Right.
Maybe. If I get lucky.
Don't think back. Just give up the physics, go to chemistry. You can make the money. You like it more, so you have more passion. You're going to be more motivated to do the work.
I mean, I kind of like what I do now. I just don't like a lot of stuff.
I kind of like it, but I
like the physics of the chemistry that we deal with. I don't particularly like what I do. Mm-hmm. So I'm in a conflict of interest. But if I move out, then it doesn't fucking matter. But I don't know how applications work, so I need to figure that shit out.
Applications for switching fields? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same as physics. It's just, I think you'd have to most likely get a master's in chemistry. So you'll have to basically teach yourself all undergrad chemistry and work at the graduate level. Because I think Long Beach was the only institution that gave a second bachelor's in physics. So, like, yeah. I think a couple of our mutual friends, like Brad, he already had a bachelor's. So the only place he could go to get a bachelor's in physics was Long Beach.
Yeah, I figured that out way later.
Yeah, everyone else, every other institution is like, okay, you already have a bachelor's. You need to come in at the master's level then for whatever field like you want to go into.
Well, I would want to go to the PhD. I don't want to work and then have to be paying for my own classes. That's not what I was promised, man. I was told you go into science, they pay you for doing science. I'm willing to keep that promise.
Yeah, well, I mean, doctors technically get paid the most, right? And yet they have to take on
Everything.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah. They tell me a lot of money.
Right. So technically they don't get paid to go to classes and stuff like that. But
That's their choice. That's their choice. They only get to save people's lives.
right. But so then your ultimate interest, though, you described saying philosophy was what you knew you were interested in, but wasn't science, didn't fit the criteria.
I mean, I love math, but I love philosophy.
Okay, so would you say that philosophy is still like up there in terms of like if money didn't matter or whatever?
Oh, money doesn't matter.
Okay,
but yeah.
Well, wait. So do you still have the criteria?
Yeah, I still love philosophy. It's
right. Okay, so I mean, I was gonna take a step back because you said your motivations for going into physics were go big or go home. You need to make money. It needs to be in science.
yeah. Well,
So-
the money just came from what people told me the reasons why they were going back to school for.
Okay, so
Or going
nowadays,
at
you
their
think
older
that
age.
money criteria is like
Well, I never really fucking cared about the money, but I just thought, hey, you get a degree, I get money either way. But I just knew, hey, money is one of the important things, so it's got to be like on my list, even though I don't care about it. I should still add it.
mm.
If like that makes sense. Like,
I'm confused. It sounds like completely contradictory, but I guess the way I'm interpreting it now is you have like a hierarchy, a tier list of like
yeah.
priorities, and money is on there, but I guess it's at the bottom.
Yeah, I feel like the money is just going to be there no matter what.
I mean, because
okay.
you need it, right? Is that what you mean? Because logistically, to like in
Huh?
society or to live, you
Probably
need money,
because of society.
but not
I
because
mean,
you
people just-
really care
The
about.
adults just told me, hey, I'm coming back so I can get a better job that pays more money. So I figured, okay. I think it just comes with the territory of getting a degree that you get more money. But it's not like, oh, let me get this job because it pays so much. Like, I don't do it for that.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
okay. Well, then maybe physics isn't too bad because
Yeah.
you still make a decent amount, but
I think they make a hell of a lot.
yeah.
I thought it was the same thing for everyone. But at least, well, either way,
I mean, if you get an industry job after getting your physics degree, you can get paid a lot
I'm
of money.
not going to work in industry. Fuck them, man. They'll kill you. They'll kill you. Teach.
Right. So then I guess we could pivot to your goals. I guess your goals afterwards, right? You said you wanted to teach, right? So you don't want to
Yeah.
go into industry.
No.
So you're interested in
Unless
teaching.
I have to. Yeah.
At
In-
what level would you want to teach?
Community college.
Specifically for these underrepresented minorities,
Yeah.
if possible. So then,
I would like to maybe do high school if they fucking pay me enough, but they probably don't pay enough. I'm not willing to do it. And no one really I'd probably take summer school at high school, but not a job in high school.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I worry about that is like already expressing some frustrations about the education system from your perspective
Yeah.
as you're going in. To me, that seems like it would be suffocating to go into high school because
Why? Oh.
it's like it seems even worse than in college or university level where you have to meet all these standards to like a T. Like you have all these very strict requirements of like this is what you need to cover in this time and you need to test this like
Oh, yeah.
you'll have much more tests like basically like you have much less freedom in terms of what you can teach and the way you want to teach.
True, but those students, I guess, are what worries me is more like they don't know what they're doing, and they're just following for the most part.
Right.
That's why I would like to teach high school, not because of anything else, and that's why I would only do summers just for a little bit.
Right. And I guess this is where
Because
Irene and I've been convinced, and I would jump in and say that that's probably the product of the education system itself. The way they're teaching these
Yeah.
kids is not from a critical perspective,
Yeah.
right? And so if you're to be become a high school teacher and work from within the system, it seems like you'll be much more restricted in terms of the moves you can do to like teach these kids more critical thinking skills, because you, like I said, you have to meet all these specific requirements. So maybe the ideal way is to start a new school, completely change the system.
Damn.
Viva la revolucion.
Private school.
That's what I'm hoping to do one day.
Private
At least
school,
make like a
Guzman.
curriculum that public schools could, easily replicate. That's what my dream is to do, and that
If they
those
weren't
schools
so
across.
expensive. They weren't so expensive.
Right. I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive. It's just like you run one experiment of like, okay, we're going to try teaching kids this way. You could get data on that and then see what happens, right? And maybe convince,
I mean,
the public school system.
And there's a lot of data already. There's a lot of different schools trying different methods, and it's like if you can collect all that data and then sift through it, look at what really works, and then try that in your own school and show that it really works. And you find a way that you can easily implement it, teach people, do easy trainings that people can understand and learn, and how to implement those ideas in their own classroom, then you can see change. But it's such a large thing. Then you need people who like know laws and like are on the legislative side trying to get legislation passed. So it's you need a big network of people.
You need teachers that want to teach.
And also, that's another issue. You need to. That's why it's important. Like, if someone with a PhD in physics goes to teach high school, that's amazing, because a lot of the high school teachers don't even have specific training in those courses, right? So they don't even
pass
know.
a test. And
they can't really teach the level that I think is necessary for students to really understand the depth.
They don't make it exciting is the problem.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't really know the material to that depth, how would you be able to like really make it that exciting, in my opinion? But
that's what I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a problem with there's a problem with the culture in general of just like a lot of people thinking, teaching is kind of a waste of time, even like at our level, like it is a common perspective to think that, community college or high school or even teaching classes or labs or whatever is just like a complete waste of time, or like it's a waste of your abilities to try and teach these other minds
these
what's
stupid
going on.
ass people. That's what everyone thinks,
right? And
I don't think that. I know that.
I don't think so. I don't think it either. I'm just
so I think it's I think it's totally respectable what you want to do, and I think that we should try to encourage more people that have those goals to like try it out and see how far they can get in the field and learn
and get more money for teachers too. It should be something that's encouraging people with PhDs to want to do.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I'm becoming mindful of your time again. So, how do you feel about some more typical bullet round questions?
We can go.
Okay, so say one of your friends who is younger is just trying to figure out what he wants to do for his career, and he says, "Hey, I think I'm interested in physics." What would you tell them? Like,
do it.
Right. So
do it. I don't care.
Well, so because
what's the question? I want to do it.
Like, what advice would you give them? Like, because currently you're working on your master's, right? And I don't know if applications don't work out or whatever. You said that you'd stop there, right, and just end up with a master's. So I think that's a unique perspective, right? Like, so if someone wanted to get into physics, like, what advice would you give them for their, like, okay, you should think about focusing on this, or like,
like their path-wise?
Yeah, I guess what guidance would you give them so that they're not just blindly having to figure out everything for the first time?
What worked for me is first you think about what's the good stuff, why you want to do it, and what you get out of it if you accomplish it, and then what you will do. And I mean, these are not easy questions, but you try and answer them as much as possible, as soon as possible. And then you also got to think about the worst. You always got to think about the worst. And so you think, okay, well, say you don't get your degree. Say for whatever reason you you fail, what is everyone gonna say? What is everyone gonna do? And what are you gonna care about? And how are you gonna respond to that? Because even though you don't care, you kind of care. Unfortunately, you care that, hey, let me go out there and show the world that I can do something. And guess what? The world's fucking big. And there's a lot of fucking strong people out there that tear you down. And so you have to be able to say, what do I do there? And then it's very abstract, but it's very like you got to put yourself in a dark situation and say, well, how would I face this situation? And then you say, well, that you would say, you have to be real honest and say, okay, this is how I'll have to deal with it. And you got to really be honest with it. And if you're scared of facing that situation, that's going to make you weak. And it's going to be a repercussion that's going to be weighing on you, and it's going to do you more harm, because now you're worried. If you start failing, you're going to be worried like, oh, I'm letting out everyone else down. They're going to be talking down. They're going to be doing this. They're going to be feeling sorry for me. Or you can see it like that, or you can say, well, okay, I can turn that negative into a positive and say, okay, that's true. I could have failed. So what? It is what it is. It happens. I don't want it to happen. And it might even help you out. Okay, let me do it helps you. It helped me take away everything I didn't want. All my wants became thrown to the trash. Like, you want women? All right, you can't have women. You can't. They're not doing anything good for you. What is she gonna do? Give you sex? Give you what? That's momentary. So she's not gonna be there helping me study. She doesn't fucking care if I'm gonna be successful, if I'm gonna be what I want to be, if I'm gonna be as great as I want to be. So fuck bitches is what that's what I think.
Well, she might care. She might want to see you
okay,
succeed.
yeah, that might be true, but I generalize it into say, because men are very horny individuals, and I didn't want to be stupid in that regard, so I had to be real honest and say, well, I had to be real harsh against women and say, well, they're just gonna be getting in my way. So if she's not the one, why waste my time paying any attention to an insignificant individual that's not gonna give me any kind of happiness family wise? Now, when she appeared, and when she appears, then that's when you think about it, but not in the beginning. You can't be thinking about, oh, this path is going to take me this way. So, well, you got to give one simple scenario that benefits you. And then when that scenario flips against you, then you got to figure out a way to handle it. And you got to be real good on how you handle it and still be focused. And so that's what I did with women. I just said, well, for the most part, okay, I love women. I care for them, but she's not going to do anything for me if I don't love her. So when love happens, that's when I'll care. And that's what I decided. So that was one thing. So I threw that want or that need or desire, and I threw it to the trash until it really becomes a need or an actual thing I need in my life. Like love, that's something you need. So if that person actually loves you, she'll understand, and I'll understand, okay, I got to try and make this work some way. So sex is a want. So why waste your time with sex? That's what I think. So you figure out, you gotta be really honest and really dead on how what you're gonna have to give up. And I mean, it doesn't really matter. As long as you say it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really matter. I mean, look at fucking TV. Look at TV. I think I let go of TV after 8 years old. I just didn't, maybe 10. Let me say 10. I stopped caring about, at like 10 years old, I stopped caring about TV just because everybody talks about TV, and then we never had cable. And I mean, there are some shows I did like, but that for the most part, I said TV is stupid. So it just became stupid. Why am I gonna... Movie stars, most people care about, hey, this movie star is... They know their whole fucking life story. Guess what? He doesn't fucking care about you. She doesn't fucking care about you. So I said, well, why the fuck should I care about someone that doesn't even know me? Why am I gonna care about... No offense to their success. I do admire that, but I'm saying, like, why should I give them this glory? And I think this about me too, but I'm thinking, like, why should I give them this glory if they're not coming to my house saying, like, hey, you need this, you need that, maybe I'll help you out. So I gave caring about people like famous and people I don't know. Okay, if I ever meet them and they honestly present themselves in like their personality, then I'll care. But other than that, I don't see any point. Why should I know all his facts of, oh, he was born in this year and he lived here, they did that, he's married to this wife, they have so many it's like, why should I bother wasting my brain mentality? So things like that you really just throw out to the trash, and you say, well, this is what's going to be helpful, and then that's it. That's I think that's being honest with yourself, and blaming yourself for everything is most likely your best route. Even if you don't know anything, it's the best way. And then be helpful be helpful to everyone, and let people help you, and ask. There's help. Help is when people are there to help you, I guess. At least that's what I would like to believe, even though people don't show that. That's what I like to believe and say that is what it is. But it's mostly about knowing that you have faith that it's going to happen. No matter how bad it looks, it's going to happen if you put your mind to it. And then looking at the negative to make it into a positive, to give you the power and the strength to go every day stronger. That is what I would probably recommend in short version. Kind of went into loops.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Yeah,
I mean,
good,
just one slight rephrasing.
Yeah.
Is like, I agree, is instead of blaming yourself for everything, I would say taking responsibility for everything. I think that's a distinction that matters.
Yeah, that's probably a better phrasing.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, I'll just leave that. But yeah, I think it totally makes sense. And I mean, sometimes the way you phrase things can be a little confusing or interpreted different ways, but I think I take your meaning. And
Responsibility is probably the better word.
Right. No, I just mean like more in general with the response. But great. Okay. What do you think? Okay, so do you have any regrets from like your 20s? Do you think that you wish you did something differently when, like, in your span of your 20s, right? Because a lot of people view that as like the time where you have the most potential to grow or whatever, or like that's really where you're defining your path for a decent, at least at some portion of your 20s, that's where you have opportunity to like choose a direction and stuff like that. Any regrets from
Path-wise?
Well, not necessarily, just in general. Something you wish you did differently when you were a young buck.
I'm still young, man. Let's see.
Young in spirit, that's for sure.
Damn. Was something
And
I
in age,
fucked
right.
up? Something
No,
I
not fucked up. I'm just saying, any regrets from your 20s?
Like, what do you mean by regret, though?
Something that you wish you would have done differently?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm not happy with my life, but it's, I don't regret anything. I mean, I didn't go to jail, so,
That's a positive.
so yeah. So anything I did, it must have been good enough. So,
So let's take a break there. So you say you're not happy with your life? You mean currently?
no, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, happy in the sense like not everything went according to my plan.
Right.
Because the way I saw it when I was maybe 19, I told my friend, we were outside, and this is when I first learned about there's such a thing as a PhD. And I thought that was the holy grail of education. And I thought, okay, I need to get that. And he was walking me, and this is when everything was going nice and dandy, and there was no problems at home. And then I said, okay, how long does it take to get a 4-year bachelor's? He's all like, oh, it takes about 4. And then, oh, how long does it take to get a master's? Oh, that should take a 2. And how long does it take to get a PhD? Oh, that should take about another 6. And then I was like, oh shit, that's a lot of time, man. I don't got that. I don't got that kind of time, man. I got things to do. And I told them, you know what? The way things are going, I can probably pick things up. And so I said, I told them like, okay, you know what? If by 26 I don't do it, I'm probably gonna kill myself, man. And then when I said that, I meant it. I really meant it, because it's like, why am I gonna waste more time than at the age of 26? It seems more than reasonable. And then he's all like, no, man, it can't be done, man. It's too much. I was like, nah, it'll be done. 25, 26, it's good enough for me. And then that's when life happens. That's the next year or two, that's when life really happened. And that's why I'm not happy. But I'm thankful, I guess. I should have listened more to others, especially when they were telling me when I was having a difficult time. I shouldn't have been so stubborn. I'm still stubborn, but I'm less stubborn, if people can believe that. So yeah, I'm less stubborn now. My life I started working, and I started going to full-time job, 60 hours, going to school full-time for whatever hours I had left, had no social life. That's what I am not happy about. That the life situations kind of took advantage, I guess. That's what I mean by unhappy.
Took advantage as in, like, you were kind of restricted in your choices. You didn't really have a choice in the matter.
I guess no choice. I mean, I guess you can say I had a choice. I could have just said no.
No, I get what you mean.
But it seems not really. But yeah, I took the choice of doing what I was supposed to do instead of fucking around, I guess. So that's what I'm not happy about. But I'm also happy about just because it was good. I probably would have been stupid. I was doing the right things, but I could have probably been stupid. And then that's when it showed. Then at some point, that's when the stubbornness kind of calmed down after like 2 years. After 2 years, two painful years. That's when and I got the transcripts to show that. When I started fucking up. That's the holy grail right there. That's the...
Well, so then now that, for the audience, you want to say how old are you?
28?
28. Right. So then, do you think?
I think so.
Right. So 28, and now you're working towards your master's, right? You're almost done. And
Yeah.
potentially you're working towards your PhD. What are your feelings on the matter now? Have you come to peace with that 26 term you told yourself? Or are you still a little upset?
No, I'm still hell of upset. That's just me, though.
What do you tell someone? What do you tell a 19-year-old kid who's the next Juan? I'm gonna do it when I'm 26.
Fucking do it. Why should I be? Hey, no, like fucking life is gonna kill you. No, that would be fucking stupid. That would be an asshole. Have a plan, and when that plan doesn't go the way you want it, adjust the plan. That's it. There's no... I'm not going to give them like, oh, you should worry about this. Like, life is going to happen. That's... Guess what? The less you think about it, maybe the less it'll happen. And maybe if I would have thought about it like, oh, well, if I would have said, you know what? Let me get... At 26 sounds like I can possibly do it. Let me give myself another 3 years. Let me say 29. That means I could have probably... That means now I would have been 29, and then I would have finished the bachelor's at 35. So the less time you give yourself, maybe the better. You don't want to give yourself too little time, but you don't want to give yourself too much time. So if someone were to tell me, hey, I'm going to do this in 4 years, if they were going to tell me, hey, I'm going to graduate at the age of 22 with the master's, that'd be kind of like, all right, you better start working, bro, or lady or girl. Like, you better work, but be aware, like, you got to be working every day. You got to be doing everything. You got to, most importantly, care for yourself. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. And I mean, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I guess I was tempted to end it there, but I have one final question then, is bringing up caring for yourself, right? I guess from my perspective, it seems like you have a unique perspective on like the way
taking care of myself means.
well, no, I'm just saying like I kind of admire the way you carry yourself, like the way
carry myself or care for myself. Now I'm
both,
losing.
right? So I guess what I mean is like this mentality of just like you just gotta do it, man. It's not difficult. Like I wish I could feel that way sometimes. I mean, I don't always, but
about what?
Well, about like the difficulty of pursuing physics, about getting a PhD, about whatever, like your mentality towards struggles in general. Like I think that's what I should strive for, right? Is to feel that way. But I don't always feel that way. So anyways, my question is, what is your perspective on like how much you struggle to care for yourself, right? Like, is it really a struggle to try to take care of your body and your mind and your mental health and all this stuff while all this stuff that's going on?
No, I don't think it's a struggle. To be like, if I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's a struggle. It's just, I don't even think about it. I think it's just, how do you say? It's kind of hard, man. Oh, fuck. Like you strive for it. What do you mean by strive? I guess that's what I'm really having a difficult time with your word.
Okay.
I feel like that's a challenge right there. Like right. Like the word means challenge.
Yeah. Like for me, my feelings towards a certain situation is, I guess, struggling with like feelings of depression occasionally is like sometimes really basic tasks are very difficult for me to do.
What basic tasks?
Like, getting out of bed, like feeding myself.
Why?
Because you feel like hopeless or worthless or nothing matters, etc. Those types of feelings.
Okay.
Right. So like, what's the point, kind of thing.
Okay.
And I have to push myself to get out of bed, but I can't then tell myself that I'm not struggling to do that. Right. To take care of my mental health, or to go out and do these things that work towards the PhD. Right. This is my effort to grow as a person and to tackle as much responsibility as possible, right? Which is because I see, like, you should take all these things in stride. Like, it doesn't have to be so difficult, etc. But anyways, to me, like, basic things can seem like a struggle. And so to say things like, it's not difficult to go pursue your dreams or to pursue a PhD in physics. While I wish I could say that the same was true in my case, I can't. I think that's just not true to my experience, right? And so I'm just wondering how you perceive, taking care of your mental health, like whether you face a similar struggle in like any type of thinking in your daily life or something like that.
I think for the most part, no. And I don't know why. I just think I don't think it's easy. I just think it's something you just do. Like, maybe your brain is on too much, to be honest. Like, it's not like I'm thinking about everything. I mean, I see a fucking squirrel and I'm amused by a squirrel. I see a fucking dog and I'm amused by a dog. I see anything that a fucking bird just flies in front of me, I'm fucking surprised and I'm thinking it's gonna fucking kill me. So I'm surprised there too. So that's what I get out of life. And like those are amusements and I'm just reacting to that. And when it comes to, I don't even want to say struggle, but when it comes to doing things, it just, you find something fun about it, I guess, and you find whatever is fun about it. I mean, getting up from bed at 5:30 and going to work out, I would wake up earlier if I could, probably, but fucking gym doesn't open earlier. And they don't fucking close later. But the way some of the things, it's just I like making challenges. So I know people don't like waking up at 5:30. So I like waking up at 5:30. I mean, fucking my friend, he wakes up at 5. Motherfucker's crazy. And I'm thinking, oh shit. I mean, I can probably wake up at 5, but he goes to sleep a little bit earlier. So okay, we kind of even out. We get there at the same time. But I don't think about it. I make it fun the way I like to make things fun. So I like challenge in everything. So I'm thinking, well, every motherfucker is not waking up at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm winning. I'm already winning. That I like to win. So let me win. Mm-hmm. If studying for 12 hours means I'll be a winner, okay, I'll fucking study for 12 hours. I mean, obviously there's fucking breaks. I can't go nonstop, but I'll be there 12 hours and I won't mind it.
Right.
Because I've worked for 10 to 12 hours and I didn't like that. And I didn't like that at all. So, and that was mandatory. I couldn't just say, you know what? I don't feel like going in today. Let me not do this. I feel like slowing down. Let's slow down. No, there's a partner sometimes, and that motherfucker keeps you on your toes. So sometimes you need a partner, just like in lifting. That's why I don't see any problem with having help. I see a problem with with people not wanting to ask for help, but I don't see a problem with help. I mean, it just depends how you see it, but I like struggle. So even when I was working, it's not just that my partner, so to speak, or the person I had to work with was making me work. Sometimes okay, well, let me beat him. Even if he was slow, I want to beat him so bad that he looks like he's shit. Even if he's been working there for longer than me, I want to beat him. That's just how I am. I don't know why, and that's fun to me. I like to win, and I like to let people know that I win, and I don't. That's how I see it. So and some people can do it on their own. Some people need a support group. There's nothing wrong.
Right.
I mean, it just.
So,
like,
yeah.
can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Though? But I guess I'm interested then, because you say like this is how you are, right? It seems like, I don't know if you would say that you're a person that naturally has always been more like in the moment, like you're saying you see the dog and you just kind of like, or you're amused by the action in the moment. Do you feel like you're more like you live in the moment and maybe not so much in your head? Or that's the first question. And then going on, it's like, what do you think has come together to create you right now, like who you are and like how you perceive the world and how you go through the world, like mixing maybe something about your environment growing up and also like something that you may think that may be inherently part of who you are, like genetically or nature or something like that?
I mean,
I know it's a deep. It's like
what was the first
loaded
question? What's the first one first? The first one was.
Are you just so when
I'm in the moment or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Do you naturally operate on just like whatever experience comes in front of you, you react to that rather than being in your head?
I think yes. I mean, that goes back to telling Joe I just fucking turn off my brain. I think that's turning off my brain. I don't think. I don't do anything.
Do you actively do that, or you feel like it's something that's just natural? Even as a child, that was something that you always did.
I don't know. I really do not. I mean, for the most part, it was probably just natural because I didn't know English when I started elementary school. So most of the time I just had to look at stuff and think and maybe just see what the fuck it was going on. And then I had a little friend and she would interpret. And then that's when I would have to pay attention and come up with whatever fucking shit out of my mouth. And I feel sorry for that girl because I said some stupid shit. Hopefully she was saying something better. But yeah, I don't know. But at some point, the best thing I can remember is Malcolm in the Middle show. I don't know if you guys remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's this scene where Reese goes to war or signs up for the military.
Yeah.
And then he can fucking set up a rifle like fucking crazy, better than anyone can, and he shines his shoes. He went from being a shitty person, as in like being able to do things for himself, to being like an elite 100%. I'm a badass. And he can, everyone in the fucking room couldn't fucking shine their boots. They couldn't do their rifle or anything, right? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
I think that scene or that episode is what made me understand what I had to do, and even other shows, he just said, hey, he was asked like, how'd you do this? I was like, I didn't. I just shut up, listened, and did what I was supposed to do. And that to me, it just seems you didn't just turn off your brain. Don't do anything. Just do it. You don't realize it, but it's nicer, I guess. And then I do like to think. I mean, there's the philosophy stuff. So when you say live in the moment, it's kind of hard because I've thought about that question. And I think it's kind of like, if you're thinking about, oh, what does live in the moment mean? Does that mean I'm supposed to act like this because I'm in a party? Does that mean I'm supposed to act sad because I'm in a funeral? That's not being in the moment. So I don't know what being in the moment means, because once you start thinking about what that means, you don't start living in the moment. You're confused. So I don't really know how that.
Well, normally what living in the moment means from like a mindfulness perspective is just becoming aware of your consciousness, right? So like like you become an observer to your consciousness, as I understand it, right? So like say some thought or some feeling comes into your head, you can recognize that I'm having this thought or this feeling and just recognize it as that from like an outside perspective, and saying you can appreciate that moment and that feeling, that thought. You can choose to stay in the thought or the feeling or like philosophize, whatever, or you can choose to let it go. Right, that's what it means.
But if it feels good, why would you let it go?
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just saying, like, if you're truly in the moment, you can recognize the feelings or the thoughts and consciously be aware of like when to let those things come and go, or how long you want to prolong that thought or whatever. You're in control of your consciousness, more or less.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever observed that, and if I do, I didn't know what it meant. I mean, I do have those moments where I'm like, oh shit, but I'm not like, oh, so that's what it means. So maybe I have, but I think it's just relaxing, man. Just relaxing.
I even define it though, even less like thoughtful. Like I sometimes just even define living in the moment as in like enjoying the environment around you, enjoying the emotions that it might elicit, but not thinking about, I guess.
Maybe I do experience it, and I'm just not aware because I just think it's turning off my brain. Because what turning off my brain means, it just means I'm not making everything critical. Like I told a friend, if you see a fountain, why the fuck am I gonna fuck up a fountain? Why am I gonna look at a fountain and be amazed and then start thinking, oh, well, it's this that's probably making the water come up like this, and it's probably all these, like, why the fuck am I gonna, I guess not thinking means everything amazes you. And I think maybe that's what living in the moment is to me. Like, just, I'm amazed. So maybe that's why I brought up the whole dog and birds and squirrels. It's just, why am I thinking, oh, why did that bird just come from here? Maybe it's getting a fucking worm. I'm not thinking that. I just saw the bird and I'm just surprised and I like it, and that's all it is. It was.
Yeah, I guess that's what in meditation people call turning off your monkey brain, right? The part of your brain that's, responsible for like rationalizing or like coming up with these ideas of like, oh, like the water is coming out because of this or that. It's more like your lizard, or you're like the more base part of your brain of just like recognizing things coming in and out of your like perception and stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know. So I guess that's what I mean by turning off my brain. I don't really know. But that's how I would characterize it, as, because that's how I feel. I just don't do nothing.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I mean, I think, like I was talking about recently, is Sam Harris. It's some guy who runs another podcast. He basically says if you're suffering, it just means that you're most likely overthinking, right? That's pretty much true of like almost any situation.
Maybe.
And so I'm working on that, trying to become more mindful and shut off my brain in certain aspects. But
that's pretty good. I don't. And what was the other question?
Oh yeah,
The very loaded question. I
yes.
guess.
Oh shit.
If there's anything that you can, I mean, I was asking you what you thought was a combination of either could be experiences or just like naturally how you are that come together to create, what you see yourself as who you are now.
Dang. Yeah.
And like what's helped create like this philosophy you have about life that you've been talking about?
I think just everything. everything in my life, I guess. I don't really know. I just being alone, I guess. Being alone. I mean, being with people, but being alone. Because I've told Joe this. I think I'm pretty sure. I'm with people, but I don't think people understand me. I don't think people really know me, and I don't understand why they like me, because I mean, me and Joe are very different, and I feel like most of my friends are very different, and it's like it's very difficult for me to understand, like, well, why. I can understand why I'm okay with it, but when other people like me and I'm like not like any of their other friends, it's kind of like maybe it's kind of not a good thing, and maybe at some point it's like everyone drifts away and maybe I'll be forgotten, and then it'll be all good, and maybe hopefully they take something good, I guess. But I think being with people, I guess that's why I kind of don't care about what people think, because at some point I feel like, why am I gonna care? I'm gonna leave anyway. They might remember something, and they might care, and maybe they'll take something good out of it. That's what I think. And so I always felt like no one really not understand me, but it's kind of like I never fit in with anyone because I'm not part of anyone. Like, no, I've never had like, yeah, we're good, we're tight, I understand you real good, back and forth. That's why I'm the way I am, I guess. But most people, friend wise, and then I just like I guess my philosophy is a lot of philosophy. It's a lot of things that people contributed, and it's probably not a lot. It's just probably a very, very few. I mean, I know the Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know he says at some point, like in the movie Pumping Iron, I would always work out in high school like a crazy person. And people would say, why do you work out like that? I'm all like, well, why not? What's wrong with the way I work out? So I'm like, don't you get tired? Well, why does it matter if you get tired? You just keep going. You just really keep going. And it's just a good feeling that you have. And then I found out once I watched the movie Pumping Iron, then I felt like he understood when he said, hey, when you feel that pump, when you feel like you're about to explode, that's a feeling. That's something that you can say you felt, and that feels better than anything else. That feels like you're coming, and it's probably better, I don't know, because that's something that you did. You don't need anyone else. And so I guess I'm very, I don't know, very complicated, I guess. But how do you say? Damn, it's kind of hard to express. You just take what's good, man. You just take whatever is helpful. You can copy someone, and you'll never be like them. So if I were to copy Joe and be, you're like good at almost everything. So like you at least know how to do a lot of things, even if it's a little bit. If I were going to try and do that, I'd probably not be anywhere near as good as Joe at doing so many multiple things. I just don't have, I might have the brain capacity, but I don't fucking care to have it because I don't like it. I don't see the benefit for myself, but Joe likes it. So if I can take anything, it would be like, how the fuck do you even learn so many things and at least retain some of it? That would be amazing for me. So if I can take something from someone that's good for me, if it's good, without even, that's just natural. It's just supposed to be natural. That's what I think is, that's me. Eddie Guerrero had, this wrestler had, you lie, you cheat, and you steal. And then my mom said, take what's good and leave the bad. And I took his and I said, I lie, I cheat, I steal. I lie when it's convenient, in the sense of, if I need to get a job, I'll fucking lie because I know I'm going to be good at that job and it doesn't matter. It's lying to them, but I'm not lying to myself. So technically, I know what I'm capable of. I'm just lying because they haven't seen it. That's what I think. And then cheating, it's like, how am I cheating if I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing? So if I'm gonna cheat anyone, I'm gonna cheat myself. I'm not gonna give anything less. That's what I think. And then stealing is just like, if I'm gonna steal, I'm better be stealing something good. And it's gonna be good for me. It's not. That's why I don't think I can steal from a bank. I believe if I have enough time, I can steal from a bank, like an actual bank, and that's just an idea. And people think it's fucking crazy, but I think it's, you know what? You give me 6 months, I'll dedicate all 6 months, maybe even 60 days or something, or 3 months, and I'll fucking steal that bank, and I won't get caught. Because that's how dedicated I'll be to doing what I'm supposed to do, and that's just what I think.
Yeah, just a disclaimer: this podcast isn't supposed to be incriminating evidence against you when
No,
you do steal from a bank.
No, I wouldn't steal from the bank. But I'm just saying, what people think is impossible is,
right.
I don't find, you give me enough. If I give myself enough time, then I'll be able to do it. That's what I think. I think people that just see if I think what I do is I think a lot, or I think enough, and people just see this layer and it's bad because all they see is a layer. And I think you should see more. Sometimes you got to think a little bit, as in, okay, he's talking about stealing a bank, but what can a bank be? Generalize that to anything. Bank can be anything. That can be a job. You can steal from a job. You give me enough time and I'll figure out how to do that. You give me, and that's, if you tell me, hey, you get $1 million if you come up with this in this amount of time. All right, I'll get you that. I don't fucking care how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it if I really want it. And I'm gonna 60 days or 3 months. Okay, I give myself enough time, dedicate everything, nothing else matters. That's just focus. That's just, it is what it is. And if you really want it, then you're not gonna miss any detail. That's what because stealing from a bank is gonna be a real good challenge. That's what I'm trying to get people to see, but most people just see, stealing from a bank, how can you do that? Why would you do that? It's like, all right, those are the people that are not really, I guess, thinking ambitiously. They're just saying, they're not reading between the lines, I guess, or whatever it's called. That's what I see. I don't just see one thing. I try and see the big picture. And it's scary and it's bad, because sometimes you see what's gonna happen and you don't like to see what's gonna happen. And then you're like, it is what it is. So what can I do? I don't know if you guys took critical thinking classes, but the only word I can remember is slippery slope. And the teacher said that's when you think so much ahead that it just gets to whatever bad outcome. But I also see good outcomes. So I don't know why I do this. I don't know how I do it. I just know that if I see something and I think about it, actually think about it, I get to what it's going to be. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. That's who I am, I guess. I just get to see. That's why when people tell me, "Oh, when I ask people to, I guess the best version of what summarizes me is I see potential. That's all I see. That's unfortunately, whether it's good or it's bad, I see it and I don't like it and I like it and it's bad because I like people, I love people, and I don't like seeing them miserable. So when I see what you're doing and I can analyze you in a way, when I see people apply themselves, like I know where they're gonna get. If they're actually keep doing what they're doing, I see what they're getting. But once they start deviating, then I also know what they're gonna end up, and I don't like that. So when people tell me like, "Oh, we should go to the gym," and then they start going, and then I'm all like, "Okay, that's good. I know where you're gonna end up. It's just a vision. It's just that's who I am, I guess. I just see it. I just know it, and it's not good, and it's not something. I don't know, man.
No, I think that. Yeah,
it's hard to explain.
No,
but that's
no,
who I am.
No, I understand. It's a difficult thing. It's a loaded question for sure. But I mean, finally at the last sentence, I was like, okay, it clicks. I understand what you mean, right? Like, if I were to try to rephrase it, it seems like it's not necessarily that things aren't a struggle, right? It's that once you can see a path through to what you want, once you have a vision of the future,
it's not even that you have the path. I don't even care about the path. I just
have a goal,
I guess a goal. It's just it can be you have a goal. I think of what it means, what it brings. I guess all the who, what, when, or why kind of things, I guess, is the short version. But I just think of who am I going to be? How am I going to, what's it going to give me? As in, not for me, but for like what I want to do. How does this accomplish me becoming who I want to be? And the same way with physics, I didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to get to this point, and I didn't know if it was going to happen. But I said, hey, it's going to happen. It will happen. And I didn't know what school it was, but I knew it was going to be for the degree. And I knew it was going to be physics. And the only reason why I cared for physics is because, okay, well, everybody seems to say it's fucking hard. Okay, then, good. Then it'll mean that much more. Because once I go back home or community home, then they're going to say, well, if this guy did it, then why can't I do it? Why can't I just go into fucking engineering or fucking sociology or fucking anything they want to be and say, well, why can't I do it? That's what I'm seeing. And I like it. That's what I really see. And I've already seen it with most of my brothers and sisters. And so if I fail, that's what really scares me. That's why that's part of the reason why I am not hurt by not sleeping a lot, by not doing a lot of things, because I see, hey, if it means, as well as my parents being tired, but it's like all these things just add up, and sometimes it feels like a weight, but then you think it can seem like a weight, or it can be like, damn, I've gone so far and I've done so much. What's just another day? Let me just do this. Let me just do this right now as good as I can. And that's it. And then you start doing, well, let me just do this right now and let me do it as good as I can. And then all you see is at the end of the day, well, oh, damn, I kind of did quite a lot. But you can't say you did a lot. You kind of say, damn, I kind of did a little bit more than I usually did. I've been slacking off. So you gotta be kind of harsh and say, okay, and well, tomorrow maybe I should probably do a little bit around the same thing. You just turn it into a positive again, and then you just say, well, fuck, my sister's doing it. She wants to be something good. Why should I fucking quit? No, why should I? That's right. I mean, the worst thing, I did have a mental breakdown at some point. A small breakdown. I don't know if you heard when there was a death in the... Okay. When that happened, it was just everyone's emotions. I was like, fuck. And I got really in my head, and I'm all like, God damn. I don't really like dead people, and I don't really like talking about dead people. And I was like, fuck, if this guy gave up and he just started, damn, maybe I'm next or something. It's like, I don't fucking talk to anyone, and I don't fucking... All I'm doing is work. Maybe this shit's gonna get crazy on my head too. So, I mean, it happens, and then I'm all like, you know what? That's all in my head. Just fucking stop being stupid. Just kind of drop the situation, and then you just start doing what you're supposed to be doing. Then you just find a way out for whatever things. I don't know.
Right, so I just have a couple things to say there. Is that it seems like we have very similar goals, but have different ways of thinking of accomplishing that, right? Like, I mean, motivations perhaps is better to say. It's like your motivation to try to accomplish these things so that you could go back to your community, and so then they can look at your example and say, well, if he could do it, then I can do it, right? I shouldn't. Mm-hmm. I should, believe in myself to that ability, because these people around me, you being an example for them, could do it, right? And yeah, I'm trying to do a similar thing here. I mean, I'm trying to do it with my family. Like, for instance, I don't know if you know, but my sister's going back to college, right? Yeah. She's studying biology, right? So she seemed to always say that those things were like too difficult for her, and I always try to encourage her and tell her, like, look, I'm doing this thing. I think it's really difficult, like, and yet I'm still here, right? I think you're more than smart enough. I think you're more than capable. I think you should do it. And so I feel very similar, right? And that's, I guess, part of the point of the podcast, is that my community is basically, the way I perceive my community is anyone that's interested in physics, or I guess anyone who wants to pursue anything in general, I guess, and has got in their head the notion that they're not good enough, that they're not smart enough, that they're not whatever, they're not meeting whatever expectation. Exactly. Whatever expectation that other people have said, that you need to meet this expectation to be what you want to be. And to me, I think that's bullshit, right? And to me, I think that's not healthy. And to me, I want to encourage that person to be whatever they want to be. And if that includes something as rigorous as physics, go for it. I'm going to be here and try to create the community that's as welcoming and inviting for them, to make it as easy for them as possible. Because there's enough bullshit in the world. There's no need to make it arbitrarily hard for these people. And, just discourage like all this, potential brightness or like ways of thinking about the world that, could be really interesting and helpful. Yeah. But to your other point is like, yeah, I guess that's another major motivation for this podcast, is what happened in our communities. A graduate student, committed suicide basically a year ago. Now, I don't know if it's exactly a year. I think it's less than at this point.
Probably. I have no idea.
But to me, that's like unacceptable, right? Like I understand that, certain people have like mental predispositions for things, and sometimes you can't help that situation. Sometimes it's out of your control. But the fact that we don't have a community here that was welcoming enough that they felt like they had some help or had someone around them that could pull them out of that deep pit is a problem, right? I don't think that's right. And I think like I was almost in that deep pit at that moment, right? Because when I came into this community, into this and I was doing shit my first semester, doing so terrible. It was like really easy to fall into these like lies about myself. I'm not. Really easy to feed my imposter syndrome. Like say, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't deserve to be here. Like I don't really feel like I have a community around me that supports me, that is welcoming, whatever. And if I had those resources, I would have, I think, easily gotten rid of those lies that I told myself. And it would have been easier for me to like come out of that pit. And so in my experience, that would have been something that would have been really helpful. Again, it's like, I think it's my responsibility now that that has happened, that I need to try to create the community that I want to see.
Yeah.
It's now my responsibility. Like, shit, this is real. Like, I have a job to do. I know this experience. I know what it feels like. So I need to make sure that everyone feels welcome now. And so that's...
I mean, the gym, man. That would be my solution. That's the solution to all.
So you want to create a gym group?
I try. People say they want to go and then they don't go. So I let them do whatever they want to do. But I think going to the gym, the way I see it is doing a sport, and I think the easiest one is going to the gym because it's so accessible to everyone. And you don't have to be meeting people at, oh, we have practice at this hour, so show up at this hour. You can literally show up within, I mean, these fuckers fucking don't have 24-hour fitness. But besides that, that's the only thing that pisses me off. But other than that, I think the gym, that's where you can't lie. The way I see it is the gym is where you go and you're honest. You can be very much a liar to yourself, whichever one you choose. And I mean, people are so fucking scared to lift some fucking weights or do some fucking cardio. I mean, I'm a bitch for cardio, but that I do admit. So, but I mean, like you can lie to yourself, or you can say, hey, I did real good. So maybe I think going to the gym helps because for those exact reasons. Hey, I might have done shitty all day, but I fucking lifted that 25 pounds real good, didn't I? And that's all I tell myself. That's all I really do. And I'm all like, all right, but you lifted some good ass weight. You weren't a little bitch. All right. And when I am a little bitch, I do say, oh fuck, I've been a little bitch. That's just on the honest level, but that's why I like it. It's just something, you can't lie to yourself. You can't do anything. No one can really tell you how hard you work, and it's not someone pats you in the back. You just do it. You can do it by yourself. You can pat yourself on the back, and for the most part, that's the only person that can pat your back. Usually no one's there with you. Usually no one's in life with you. I mean, most people don't have girlfriends or boyfriends or life partners, whatever they want to call them. So if you go to the gym, you lift, you work out, your muscles are burning, your body is sore. Hey, maybe today I worked out hard enough. Maybe I did. Maybe I accomplished something today. It's not looking so bad. Then your brain wakes up. Everything wakes up. Your body, it's sore, but you feel it. So now you know, hey, I'm still alive. I feel it. It's hurting, but it's burning or whatever. But I feel it. That means you're alive. That's what I see. And then you just start loving it, and then you just can't get enough. And I think people don't see that. People are just worried about fucking, what about if you overtrain? Well, I'm fucking worried about undertraining. Why don't you think about that one? That's the concern right now. So why don't you think about that, and then come back later.
Yeah.
Once you get that one out of the way, then we start talking about the next one. But
I think you should consider a career in like fitness motivator or something. I think this has been a podcast where you really advocated for the health benefits of working out and stuff like that.
I like it.
You could be like those Instagram people. Like there's lots of Instagram social motivators.
That's a lot of work, man. I'm not.
You could hire someone else to take the pictures, and you just.
I don't got money. I don't got that kind of money. No, yeah.
Well, anyways, I think it's something you should consider.
Yeah, you've told me a couple of times.
Well, I think you're meant for it, but in a certain respect.
Yeah.
But anyways, this has been one of the longest podcasts.
Whoa.
Right? So, I think we should consider wrapping it up. I know you don't really have like perhaps much to promote or anything, but I give everyone the opportunity if you want to. If you have anything going on like social media, any projects you're working on, you want to direct anyone's attention to, like check out this website or whatever.
Let me see. What's a porn website? Listen. Let's promote.
Right. Okay.
For all you single ladies and young single gentlemen, what's the porn?
Right. Okay.
You should probably, if people do watch that, you should probably not watch that. That's bad too. Go stop wasting that time. Go to the gym.
Okay. Well, on that note,
you'll have more energy. You technically have more energy. Feel better too.
Right. I think we're gonna close it out. So it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, man. It's been
nice.
really interesting.
Yeah,
Times flies.
I agree, really interesting.
Right. So hopefully you could come on again sometime in the future. And thanks for joining
Hopefully
us.
they like me.